It's really hard to go into work and manage people. You have a black eye.
Yeah.
They're gonna assume the worst.
They just don't take it seriously after that.
Back to yourself, please.
I can.
Yeah, we'll change chairs and stuff. I just need to.
Yeah. Ugh. I'm gonna be a different size, but that's okay.
Yeah, you were way lower.
Yep. This is where I am in this chair.
Okay, yeah, you're.
Welcome to this edition of Too Tall Desk.
Well, I mean, like when we're all in our normal chairs, we all just look like we're the same size. Now
True.
It's more close to reality now.
True.
It's an evening process.
Oops. There you go.
Archer, go in your Captain Stupid box.
Do you really want him to go into the cardboard box where you guys are recording?
Oh, it's
He's
I'm
gonna-
sit on my lap.
He's gonna PvP himself in the box.
Probably.
It still smells like cat food in here,
I know. I cleaned the box.
but there must have been some like wild food.
Willow could have just been having a bad day.
That happens.
It's so bad. Don't come over.
Yeah, Ross's old cat. I can't forget the cat's name. He was so cool. Finn. There you go.
Blah, 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 blah.
He would take just
All right, this is my audio test. 1, 2, 3. Hey, everybody.
that cat would just take the gnarliest shits. Like, and they lived in like little efficiency apartments
Oh, God,
together.
That would be so bad.
So yeah, the litter box was in the living room because there was a living room and a kitchen, and it was all one room, and then a bedroom and all that. It was hilarious, especially when they did it at night, and I was like asleep on the couch. And it's
I
like,
think
oh, God.
because I've known so many people that don't know how to take care of their animals, I like
Oh.
obsessively take care of that cat
Oh,
butt
for sure.
all the time. I'm like, oh no, I don't want people walking into my apartment and being like, that smells like cat butt.
Yeah, no, I've been a bad cat owner for a little bit of my life. When I was in college, like, yeah, the cat box was such a huge problem because, you know, the girl that I was dating at the time, neither of us were very clean.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm like uber clean,
Yeah,
but
it's called growing up.
yeah. But yeah, so we wouldn't clean out the box for like 3 days at a time.
Ooh,
But yeah, it would
that's
get
rough.
bad.
All right. Looks like we are live.
Live
Been live.
while I fuck with my microphone. Fucking with my microphone. There we go.
Yeah, it felt like it came untightened, so it just like flopped down. I plugged it in.
Gotcha.
What is
So it's like I
what's
just
going
put it
on,
on
chat?
whatever.
There we
Oh,
go. All right.
migraine. Sorry, I thought I told the chat didn't come up. I guess I did, but
Oh, there it is.
there we go.
Cool.
You can barely tell the sun's up over here because it's very humid and cloudy in Austin.
Yeah, no, there was like thundering. They had to like close the outdoor pool when I was running.
Mm.
And downtown around like 3:00, we couldn't see it from the office.
Really?
It was just total blackout thunderstorm, and we didn't get any of it.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's so weird. All right.
And my phone
That's
is
just because of the sun setting right now.
silent. Oh, I started Masters of Doom.
Oh, nice. Good choice.
Yeah, no, I'm digging it.
Good choice. I am at the end of the 2.5 Expanse book.
Nice.
I'll start the 2, or no, I'll start 3 after that.
I had no idea that John Carmack spent a year in like a juvenile home.
Yeah, you learn a lot of really cool stuff. It's going to make for a great television show.
Hell yeah.
It really is.
Are they doing it like a drama, or are they doing it like a documentary?
I
Are they,
think
like,
they're doing
reenacting
I think
it?
they're doing like a drama.
Nice.
Yeah, if you've never seen *Halt and Catch Fire*, that's what I predict it's going to be
Yeah,
like.
the window looks a bit blue light because the sun is kind of setting and it's been rainy,
Yeah.
so it's very side lit right now. I mean, we've got shitty apartment lights, so it's like the best you can really work with is these overhead cans that are kind of roughly pointed near us.
If you would like to donate to our lighting budget, you can do so
Yeah,
at
if you'd like to-
surlynerd.com.
I can turn the light on over here.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah, no, nothing's really gonna stop the
Yeah, the
backlight right now.
yeah, for the next at least 30 to 45 minutes, it's just going to be
Yep.
bright. It's fine.
No, Because we never lower the blinds because of the cats.
That and the trees make me calmer. I don't swear as much when I can see
there,
them.
there you go. It's a
Is it
beautiful
'cause
forest.
Are the trees gonna judge you? Is that what? Are you the
No,
fucking
they
Lorax?
calm me down.
Are you the
It's not
fucking
a.
Lorax
I'm not
over here?
afraid they're
Like,
going to judge me. That's nature, man. Nature doesn't
I
judge
speak for
you.
the trees. The trees don't like you very much.
Nature doesn't judge you. How many times have you just like stared your dog in the eyes while it took a shit? No one's judging anyone.
I know the dog stares at you, so you can look out. So you're not supposed to look at your dog whenever a dog's taking a shit. It makes it self-conscious. You're supposed to look around for predators to like protect the dog. Do you not know how dogs shit, man?
I don't.
All right, hi
care
everybody. That
about
has
my
just
dog's
joined our
neurosis.
chat. We're about to get started.
This is
Now,
not an animal podcast.
This is not an animal podcast. I promise.
You sure? There's about to be a cat in my fucking crotch in a second.
Well, that's just called being on Twitch.
Yeah.
Welcome to Twitch, where we just put cats on
Where
crotches.
cats and crotches is pretty much order of the day. Mm-hmm.
That's fun. I mean, ain't nobody touching
He's really,
his dick
he's really just
anyway.
like saving you thousands of dollars on a vasectomy just by
True
making
that.
Sarah. He's really got your best interests at heart.
Man, I should really get fixed, but it's like $2,000. Nah, just put a cat in your lap for like a year. You'll be good.
All right, you ready to do this?
So much work.
Ready.
All right. Thank you for sticking with us through our technical difficulties and us starting late. I promise we'll try and be entertaining today. We're going to try really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't trying for shit.
Let's see. Where'd you go? There you go.
Ready?
Game development is a business, but when is that business bad for customers? Adventurers, gear up for an all-new episode. Greetings, adventurers, and welcome to the show. We are the Surly Nerd, your one-stop shop for geek news that might have flown under your radar over the last week. I'm your host, James, and sitting across from me is the producer of this fine show, Tony.
Hey, how's it going?
With us, as always, is our third chair host, Hector.
Howdy, howdy.
And if you're new to our show, hey, welcome. This week's Boss Room is about the controversy surrounding the latest Assassin's Creed game. But before that, we have the Weekly Raid, which is a recap of all the nerd news that's fit to rant about for your ears. Don't forget that you can keep connected with us through thesurlynerd.com. You can follow us on all social media platforms and even donate to the show. Every penny donated goes right back into the show that we make for you every week. With all that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, and adventurers of all ages, it's time for The Prelude.
Hey, thanks for the follow.
Yeah,
Hello.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hi. We're recording.
We're
a
about to be
podcast?
to the part where we can't
Yeah.
talk speak to you directly.
Yeah.
as
So
much.
if you're new and if you're just checking us out, when we get into the news, if you have anything to contribute, feel free to contribute, and we can discuss it on air as we talk about the news items.
I need to make a button for that.
Yeah,
so
but
I
we
can
may
just
not
press that.
Right, but we may not respond to you directly depending on the flow of the conversation. Just don't feel like we're ignoring you.
Yeah, we're totally here with you.
I literally need somebody to type all of that up.
So you
and
can press
so
a
I can
button.
just press it as a button.
Yeah.
So
All right.
So I can do these.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Prelude.
All right, this is the prelude. This is what we've been doing with ourselves this week, what we've been watching, what we've been playing, and what has been occupying our free time. Tony, what have you been doing?
I really just want to talk about one thing that I watched this week.
All right, what's that one thing that you watched?
A show called Years and Years.
Okay.
It's a
Yeah, did-
Netflix, or sorry, not Netflix, HBO series.
Okay.
There's been 3 episodes. At
Did
least
you
I've
say
watched 3 episodes.
years and years?
Years and years.
Okay, so years twice.
Yes,
Okay.
years, but an and in between.
Right.
It is a damn good show.
Okay.
Follows. I actually got to pull up like the little description of it because it's like it's complicated because it follows 15 years of this British family starting in 2019.
Okay.
Okay.
And it follows 15 years of their life, the birth of a new child, and looking towards the future. This is like near futurism,
All right.
and what that means for all of us.
A little bit of Black Mirror vibe.
Quite a bit of Black Mirror. But
Okay.
there's a good amount of the technology in the show that's like very soon could be changes. Transhumanism is a huge part of one of the characters'
Oh,
storylines.
you have sold me already.
Yeah,
All
no,
right.
I'm gonna go fire this up.
Like, and that's amazing in its own right. Like that's plotline. I can't wait to find out more about just that one. But also politically, it's definitely goes into the it follows the story. Like in the background, there's this politician, and you see her on TV at this talking head panel thing at the very beginning, and it follows 15 years of her career as well, and what that means for the future of the country. And also,
Spoilers, they still haven't figured out Brexit.
Yeah, I was like,
Actually,
we're
no,
still
they-
going
they-
to vote
they-
on Brexit.
they actually do
15
bring
years
that up quite a bit, and
really?
the fact that Trump got elected twice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's where the show starts. Have fun, everybody. It's brilliant. It's a wonderful, wonderful show. And I don't know why people aren't talking more about it. Like
Yeah.
every review
HBO
of it
shows
is.
tend to fly under the radar until they're finished.
Yeah,
It's
no,
just-
and this is one that like I would say wait till it's finished, but after 3 episodes was so heavy to watch. At the end of watching this, I just binged
You-
the 3 of them. At the end, I was like, oh fuck, I need a nap.
heavy, like Handmaid's Tale heavy, like
Yeah,
Like,
like
you need to
so
pet a dog
much,
afterwards.
so
Yeah.
much happens, and so much happens to these characters because you're compressing all of their major life events into an hour of TV over 15 years.
Oh, so it's 15 years per episode per
Oh,
character.
no, it's 15 years in total.
Okay, gotcha.
But like when you put 5 years into one episode, it's like every major life event in 5 years. Think about that and putting it into 1 hour.
Yeah,
Emotionally, that's draining.
yeah, it's hardcore. No,
And I after the 3 is like, fuck, I need to watch all of this right now, but I also want to watch like My Little Pony or something.
Yeah.
Just something to take
Something
the edge
that's
off.
like completely not this show.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I suggest everybody go out and watch it. Everybody has you guys, I'm talking to you guys that forgot to cancel your HBO membership after Game of Thrones ends.
hey man, I keep my going. I
Yeah,
love
well,
my
some
HBO
people
shows.
do,
Yeah.
and this is one of the cases where like, hey, go watch Chernobyl, which I haven't watched.
Oh my god.
I still haven't watched it.
Oh my God.
I know people that watch it like 10 times. They're
Yep.
making it for me not having watched it once.
That's true.
True. Still need to see it though.
I'm going to, but years and years is what I need to get them on next.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, motherfuckers,
Get on
watch
that
this
train.
show.
No
If
lie.
you like Black Mirror at all, and you want to follow one storyline for an extended period, this is it.
That sounds
This
amazing.
is so that show.
Right.
Yeah, that's the one thing I really thought was
Awesome.
very
I
important.
love that recommendation.
Yeah,
What about you,
I'm
Hector?
into it. Mine is long. Do you want to go first? I have a lot of things 'cause I've been gone for 2 weeks.
Just knock a handful of...
Not knock it out. All right, let's see. I made a list because I didn't want to forget anything because they're all things that I really liked. So I finished. So let me start with the easy ones. I finished 2 anime by the same author. One Punch Man and Mob Psycho 100 both finished their second seasons. If you watch any anime at all, you probably watched.
I didn't know
this
the
stuff
second
already.
season of One Punch Man was out.
Yes, it just finished actually like last Saturday.
Okay, cool. Because I super want to watch that
Mm-hmm.
because One Punch Man is like the only anime in years that I've been like, fuck, this is
And
enjoyable.
the second season is even funnier, even better all the way through. It's amazing. Mob Psycho 100 is another one by the same comic book author.
Okay.
So
Alright.
it's kind of in the same vein of someone ultra powerful who doesn't really lean into it, who tries to like live out on their own merits despite their unyielding talent. But he's an Esper, a psychic. It's very, very cool. Very, very fun show. All kind of about self-improvement.
Okay.
So those are both great. I watched a couple of movies. Wait, let me end with those. So I started the book Masters of Doom on James's recommendation. I'm only like 4 chapters in, but I absolutely love it. And
Yeah, and we talked about this for those of you who may be here for your first time listening to the show. We talked about Masters of Doom specifically because James and David Franco are taking this book, which is a history of the creation of id Software and the making of Doom, and they are turning it into a television show. So you're
I'm only like 4 chapters in, and it's awesome so far. I'm listening to the audiobook. The narration is by Will Wheaton, and he's fucking awesome. I love his voice, and he does such a great job of nerding out over what he's reading while never like alluding to himself.
Yeah.
He reads it the way that you would read it in your head if you were really excited about it, and he's very talented in that way. I finished Jessica Jones season 3, which is very good. It's probably one of the best seasons of Netflix Marvel shows, and it's
Yep.
good
Agreed.
that it ended on that note. And I'm a little sad to see it go, but it was good. I really liked it. There's American Gods. I finished. It was only 8 episodes for the second season. It almost felt like it was like doing a swan song, but I found out that it was renewed for a 3rd season.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the one thing I was excited about. Whenever it was, I think after the first 2 episodes
Yeah.
of it aired, they're like, "No, we're doing a season 3."
Okay,
enough
good.
people have watched it.
Yeah.
and
I
I was
really-
worried that we weren't going to get one as well because that show's been there so much turmoil for
Yeah.
since before it was
God,
on
yes.
air.
Yeah, and it was amazing. Orlando Jones does Mr. Nancy.
Yeah, I've seen
and
the first season.
Yeah, him in the first season was just he was like this perfect shining star in the show. It was just, he was amazing.
Take
and
that,
the second season's
yeah.
just more.
Yeah,
I'm like,
just multiply that
cool.
by 10, and that's him in the second season. So
I loved it. I loved it.
No, 3 more quick things. I saw Spider-Man Far From Home. Definitely go watch it if you like this version of Spider-Man at all. There's a lot of people on the internet who are like, not my Spider-Man, and they don't really care for Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I think they're stupid.
I liked Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, and Andrew Garfield was fine, but all of their qualms are like, he's not broke and he's not a reporter, and it's like, he's 15, guys, leave him alone.
Right.
Like, give me like 3 breaks. I also saw the movie Midsommar.
Sorry, I just watched a cat fall off the side of it.
I also watched the movie Midsommar. James also saw it. It's a horror by Ari Aster, the same guy who did Hereditary.
Yeah.
And it's a very challenging horror movie. It's wonderful. I loved it. Someone who wrote that movie has definitely been on drugs before.
I see. I haven't watched the director's previous movie, which was Hereditary.
Oh, it was
and it was
wonderful.
explained to me that if you've seen Hereditary, don't even bother watching Midsommar. It's the same movie.
Nonsense.
Okay.
I say nonsense.
I have very strong opinions.
Welcome back
about
after your cat, did a stupid thing.
Yeah.
I had to save her from herself, actually.
Yeah, I noticed that she trapped herself in her little floppy house.
There are
upside
definitely
down.
reoccurring themes among the 2 movies. It's obvious what the writers of both movies, Ari Aster and whoever else is on the credits for it, find scary. Because those themes repeat. There's a lot of body horror, there's a lot of mutilation, there's a lot of grief, which he tends to find very, very frightening, or at least very uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, I know. Watching grief in anybody's eye, just their emotion, is just very odd and off-putting if you are not part of that.
Exactly. So there's that, and that is a huge part of Hereditary. It's a little bit less so, actually much less so in Midsommar. But the thing I liked about it, the movie as a whole, is that I don't know, it almost felt like an episode of one of the anthology horror shows, but like way longer, because it's a long ass movie. It's like 2.5 hours.
They're doing another like plus 30-minute cut of it.
Yeah.
And I don't think I need that.
I mean, no, I didn't need any more of it. At the end, I was surprised by how long I had been in the theater, but I also felt very tired. The entire movie is shot during the day in a part of the world where it never gets dark during the summer. It's done in Sweden. So, like, even when it's dark for a few hours, it's not dark. It's not night dark.
It's still sunset.
And so by the end of the movie, with no spoilers whatsoever, but the movie takes place over 9 days, and you completely lose track of what day it is over the course of the movie, because it's just always the same color all the time, and it's almost oppressively bright in certain scenes. So by the end of the movie, I was so tired that I went home and went to sleep.
Damn.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed it. It's definitely not for everyone, but if you like movies like that, or like really off-kilter horror movies,
the
like
best way I have
Climax,
to describe it is it's an art house horror film with a big budget.
Yeah, for sure. And then my very last thing, which needs no introduction, is Stranger Things. I think we all finished it.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't have to recommend it to you unless you've never seen Stranger Things. In that case,
if you haven't watched Stranger Things,
what the fuck are you doing with your life? And if you do watch Stranger Things and you have any heart whatsoever, you've already finished it. But just watch it. It's amazing. It's better than the second season. It's wonderful.
But yeah, by and large, it was just a fantastic season overall. And
some people bitch about the first few episodes. You're like, it suffers from sequel syndrome. I'm like, bitch, shut the fuck up and get to the end of it.
Yeah.
And once you get to the end, you're like, I'm not crying.
I'm not, yeah, like why you got to make me ugly cry?
Yeah, no shit. Like I didn't sign up for this. I want like single tear crying, not just...
All right, let's see. Me for the week. I'll keep it kind of brief. I've got. I started Nosferatu, AMC's Nosferatu, based on the Joe Hill book.
It's good.
I'm 2 episodes into it. I'm taking it slow. I'm like watching like an episode a night or something.
That's basically what I did.
Yeah, and it's the best way to do it. Really. It's
See, I feel like it's way more bingeable.
It is bingeable.
Because I read the book, I actually am not really super paying attention to half of it, because I'm like, oh, cool, they're at this part. And I'm just like waiting for the scenes that I like distinctly remember. So it's,
I loved that they basically just So in the book, spoilers in air quotes,
Yeah.
the GPS map that shows where Christmas Land is, and then shows like the Pennywise Circus and the Lovecraft Key House. That all happens way later in the book.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
okay.
was something you discover at the like 2/3 moment
Yeah.
of the book.
Oh, I got
And
you.
it's during the.
I forgot that it was on like the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
no, it was like in the first like 10 minutes, I think
Yeah,
it was.
it
And it was
is.
like, oh shit, way to give away the fucking.
That was-
that's a huge spoiler for like the rest of this
They
world.
were trying to hook people to make them watch it.
And if they were, that's great. I mean, that's a great way to do it. Be like, by the way, you've seen it.
Yeah.
This takes place in that same universe. You've read anything else Stephen King's ever written, same universe.
But yeah, there are there's noticeable differences from the book.
Okay.
But nothing that I feel drastically changes anything other than they shifted the perspective in one direction a little bit to give it a little bit more of a TV edge.
More of
and
a
Joe
focus.
Hill, yeah, and Joe Hill worked on it. So it's not like they just took his work and just like adapted it.
Oh, no, I mean,
no one shit on anything.
telling this is it's not a very complicated story,
It is.
but in the book it is told through like basically 5 different people. And that's like on a lost level of storytelling when you're telling 5 different stories over this thing and how they're all interconnected. TV, let's boil it down to like 3.
Yeah.
Like let's just not lost this because let's just
It's
not.
like that
Let's
with-
not lost anything, please.
It's
Yeah.
like that with The Expanse as well. So
Yeah.
and that's one of the things that I actually. So I'd finished the first Expanse book. I'm in or the second Expanse book. Now I'm in book 2.5, which is a novella, and then I'm going to start book 3 immediately. I've already got it downloaded and ready to go.
So you're chewing through those. You're liking them.
I'm loving it. I just worry that I'm going to have no self-control after 3 because what I've kind of set for myself is that I wanted to only read the books as far as the TV show has gotten. Therefore, that way when I go into the television show, I don't come in with
A bias,
Yeah,
yeah.
bias at all. But I'm enjoying the book so much. I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold myself to that.
Yeah, I mean, I won't tell you which one to do either way. You know what I did? I've read all the books. I'm current on them. I still watch the show and I enjoy it. I can't say either way whether it like diminished my love of the show because I had already read the first book by the time the first episode aired, and I was more just impressed that they were able to pull all of that off in the show.
Yeah.
Because they really do stick to at least the world very, very well as far as the constraints of space travel have to be grounded in reality at all the times, or else nothing about this universe works.
Oh yeah, like just the idea that if you've never seen The Expanse, by the way, it's on Amazon. Is Amazon?
Amazon is doing the 4th season.
Yeah.
Before that, it was done
Sci-fi.
on Sci-Fi.
But Amazon now has all this.
Amazon has it,
all the
of
seasons
it,
on there.
and now Amazon is paying for the 4th season because Sci-Fi canceled it in their great wisdom.
But yeah, I'm absolutely loving The Expanse. You should definitely check it out. It's definitely my type of sci-fi where it's definitely rooted a lot more in. It's like that Aliens level of tech where everything feels just like it's upgraded from what we have now, but it's not that far off. But yeah, do check out The Expanse. The other thing that I did this week is I binge watched almost all of iZombie because it's not all out yet.
Oh, I
but-
think I stopped at like season 2. What are we on?
This is the last season.
Season 4 or 5 or
This is
something
this
like
is
that.
the final story.
4 or 5?
4.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Man, I gotta catch up. Is it on Netflix?
Yes.
Awesome.
Or just you gave up at season 2. You gave up.
I didn't give up. I finished season 2 and then
Yeah,
I just forgot about it.
I finished season 2 as well and realized I can't give a fuck about this anymore.
I mean,
Like
I really like the main actress. I like her and
I
everything.
like her too, and that's great. It's just the rest of it's a bit shit.
Eh.
Well,
I thought it was
it's
good.
a lot of fun still. I feel like the writing on the show is basically like the way that they propose an episode is like, what stupid thing do we want them to do this week? And then they just build the episode around that. Like there was an entire like episode where, you know, she had like a 90s kid's brain. And so it was all dressing like a 90s kid and like acting like a 90s kid.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic.
It really does lend itself to like episode of the week like
Yeah.
type stuff, which I mean, it's obviously not the best in terms of like world building or storytelling, blah blah blah. But then again, I watched every episode of Lucifer and I loved all of that, and that was the most rote procedural shit. But I loved it. I loved the world they were in.
Exactly. All right, that's everything we have for the prelude this week. We're going to take a small break. When we come back, we'll be going into our main news segment in the weekly raid.
Oh, that was the only other thing that I was gonna say I watched was the See You Yesterday. It's a Spike Lee produced movie on Netflix about
You got me a cider?
kids doing time travel. Well, they were already like really smart in figuring out time travel, but then the girl's brother gets killed,
By police.
by the cops because he's a black kid walking down the street. Literally, that's the reason why he got killed.
Shit, I really need to watch that when they see it.
That sounds really interesting and also horrible.
Yeah, it's entirely about the Black Lives Matter movement and
I don't know, Spike
what it
Lee
is,
says it's gonna be
what it means
fantastic.
to be. It's produced by him. It's not. He didn't
Okay.
write it or
Oh.
direct it or anything.
I've been meaning to ask you, did they make you watch the goddamn long trailer for Stories to Tell in the Dark before Midsummer?
Yes.
I was so mad.
I was very mad about that.
I almost walked out for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I was just, as soon as I realized what it was, I was already like 30 seconds into the trailer. It's like, well, fuck, now I'm watching it.
Yeah.
Now I'm watching it.
Yeah.
So you don't want to see the trailer?
No, God, no.
Okay, so
I watched the first one, which was like 12
yeah, I don't
seconds
I don't
long.
I don't even want to see that.
No, it was like
This
12
is the
seconds long. I
same
was like,
fucking.
okay, I'm in.
Maybe now you understand my thing with Dark Crystal.
No,
I don't want to see it. I
need to see Dark Crystal. What if they fucked it up? What if it looked awful? I needed to verify whether or not
At
it
this
would be
point,
worth my time.
at this
What
point,
did,
they could literally.
Warhawk say?
There will be no ugly crying.
Yeah, it hasn't
Hasn't updated.
Oh, is it
this
not
is being
updated?
dumb again. I finished season 3 of Stranger Things finally.
Oh, nice.
Good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, why? Chat's being dumb again.
Yeah. Refresh it, maybe. I don't
No, I mean sure. I'll click refresh.
know. Why not?
We'll see what happens.
Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on?
All right.
It's running in Firefox, I think. Yeah, no, it's in Chrome. That's why. Chrome kills it. See now, look, you broke it.
It wasn't working anyway.
You
It was
fucking,
broken.
you fucking broke it, Hector.
It was broken.
Why'd you click the button, Hector?
Broken when I got here.
All right, now it says it's ready to receive chat messages. We'll see if that
All
fucking
right,
works.
swap us over to the weekly raid so we can.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you
this.
go. Here,
Oh, look, you can't see it anymore.
here, type a dog. See if we get a dog.
No,
oh,
now
we
we
did
can
it.
see it.
Okay,
Yeah.
there
Good job.
you go. And then I'll do.
Yeah.
I fat fingered that. I'm gonna take
Thanks,
fat
Warhaw.
fingers.
I'm never gonna say your name right because it's more fun that way.
The weekly raid.
Hey, adventurers, welcome back to the show. This is the weekly raid. It's our news roundup for the week. All right, let's start things off a little bit weird and talk about the Nintendo Switch Lite.
Or
About that.
the 1DS.
The 1DS.
1DS.
So, I like that. We should steal that. So what is
I mean,
the
I
Nintendo...
just came up with it,
Yeah.
so like,
I like
we can use that.
Yeah, it's ours now.
So the Nintendo Switch Lite. This was announced by Nintendo this week. It is a new version of the Nintendo Switch that does not have a docking station.
Correct.
Cannot plug into a TV. It will have very limited options.
Right.
It will be cheaper.
Mm-hmm. It's about $100 cheaper.
About $100 cheaper. It doesn't have Joy-Con support.
Right. No detachable controllers, period.
Right. It's all built into one. It's just a tablet with a D-pad.
It's just that it's what most
It's what
people
everybody's.
use.
What I was saying, the original Switch was okay, cool. It's a tablet with some like
But,
crappy
like,
controllers
it's
on
what
it.
most people
But-
use their 3DS for. So it's basically like... It's a good way maybe to bring more people into the market, I guess.
is.
Having the
is-
cheaper price point is definitely going to bring more people in because that's been like, at first it was availability just because it sold out everywhere.
Yeah.
But then it kind of came into like, well, I can get a PS4 or an Xbox for
Right.
the exact same price that has a bigger games library on
Yeah.
either one.
Right.
And no lie, I've been thinking about picking up a Switch for like a year, but I mean,
But
nothing,
why haven't
I
you?
still haven't. that catalyst hasn't pushed me.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
well, Marvel
still,
Ultimate Alliance is about
Well,
to
Marvel
come.
Ultimate Alliance.
See, for
will-
me, that's what
might be the
I'm
one.
thinking about it. I'm like, cool, I want to play Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but do I want to play it on my TV or do I want to play it in bed?
Right.
You can do both with a normal Switch.
Yeah, but that's $100
here's-
worth of normal
herein
Switch.
lies the problem: is that the naming convention of this is frustrating to me.
It is
I know
frustrating.
this is arbitrary for me to like bitch about this, but the reason the naming scheme for the Nintendo Switch works is because it literally switches from a portable to like a console.
Right, this thing
Yeah.
doesn't
This
switch.
doesn't switch shit.
There's no switching.
It's like it's just
So what you're saying is Nintendo doesn't know how to name things.
yes.
I would like to bring up the history of Nintendo.
It It'd be like
where they
if-
don't know how to name things.
It'd be like if the 3DS was called a Foldy, and then they released that one for kids that were like didn't fold, and it was like the Foldy Light. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not.
So this will, of course, mean that some games are not going to be playable on the Nintendo Switch Lite. Things like Mario Party, anything that's really Joy-Con heavy.
Roboto Lab with the cardboard.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
Can't do that at
so
all.
anything that requires those are going to be.
See, I like my Mario parties, which is really just the jerk off game because that's what half of the mini games are. Is
I
just
know, and you're
jerking
so
off.
good at them.
Yeah.
You're so good at them.
Yeah,
Like
So
the
Yeah.
all that shit.
Every
shake
guy
weight
is
training.
really good at fucking playing the jerk off game in Mario Party. It's a fucking fact.
So I can see why this would be of interest to some people. Just having a cheaper model that's always on the go, it works.
Yeah.
It's not what I would want personally, but I can see the appeal of it.
Yeah, I mean, it gave me the idea that, man, I should really think about picking up a Switch, but I knew it wasn't going to be that one.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be the big one, but at the same time, it did kind of like pique my curiosity again,
Yeah.
which
I was-
is not a bad thing.
Weirdly, so like a little side story for a fun Switch thing. I was at a 4th of July party and people were playing Mario Party. Like you do, but somebody brought it over, so the cables were kind of loose, and there was a toddler running around doing toddler shit, and just like hooked the cable with their leg, and like the whole thing fell over, and the Switch came out. Everybody's like, "Oh my god, it broke and everything," and they're like, "No, you just plug it back in," and like the game like paused because it got detached, and then and then you plug it back in. It's like it's fine.
Yeah,
It's
it's
it's fine.
Nothing's broken.
And everybody's like, "Oh, cool," because everything else would have broken that.
Yeah.
It was like a 2-foot drop, but you
Yeah.
still don't want to drop the thing. But it was kind of fun that like instead of destroying the entire thing, it just popped out and was like, "Hey, the game's paused because that's the way the Switch works."
Yeah.
Yep.
And the people didn't realize that.
I love that feature too. What was I playing? I was playing Bloodstained Ritual of the Too Long Name.
Yeah.
Amazing game, by the way. I already finished it. I got the good ending all the way through. It's wonderful. If you love Castlevania at all, play this game. But I was playing it, and my controller ran out of batteries. And the only reason I knew is because it was like mid something. Everything pauses, and it says, "Please plug the controller back in, Hector." And I'm like, it's plugged. Oh, thank you. I was like fighting a boss too. Like it would have been a bad time to lose a controller, and it just like paused the game, and it was like put a controller back in.
just charge your batteries, dummy.
I appreciate.
But you would have liked to have just moved it to like a portable device and just kept playing it like that.
Yeah, it would have been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So it is the year of our Lord 2019, and one of the things that I didn't think that we would be talking about is new MMOs.
Yeah, no, we don't
I
do that.
personally feel like as a genre, the MMO is dead.
Super
the,
dead.
The traditional MMO. Let me preface that these Destinies or things along those lines. That's not what I'm talking about. Not pseudo MMOs. I mean,
no. Like
the
World of
classical-
Warcraft.
Right. Right now, there are two very popular MMOs in the world. There is Final Fantasy XIV, and there is World of Warcraft.
One supported
then-
by Japan and one supported by China.
Right.
and then there's the random people that like to play for some reason EverQuest still.
It happens.
And
That-
I don't quite get that one.
Are there any like really big Korean MMOs that we just don't know about anymore? Is
mean,
that still a thing?
like-
Do people still play Lineage? Is there like a Lineage 7 now?
I guess. Like I
have no idea.
Probably, I don't know. But these kind of MMOs, they're dead in the water. There's
Oh, yeah.
just it would take a lot to create something that would revitalize that genre.
Nobody would make one
because
now.
There's still a good number of people that pay for Final Fantasy and
Sure.
for World of Warcraft, but
oh yeah, Final Fantasy's new expansion like has gotten like rave reviews and
but
like
there's numbers aren't really. It's not going to skyrocket. Like
Right.
they're not going to put out an expansion where
Right.
like, oh shit, everybody's going to play
but
this.
think about like your most expensive games in the world, your like Red Dead Redemption 2s of the world, and the amount of money they spent to create that game, horse balls and all. Like they could have put that into an MMO. The reason they didn't is because nobody would have played it.
right.
I mean, they
And
did put an online
and
version of it, but,
yeah, but it's
same thing
just-
as
it's just
GTA
run
online.
around
and
and shoot.
Warhawk in
Yeah.
chat's like, well, Fallout 76 is an MMO, and I'm like, yeah, but
Hard
it's,
no.
it's,
No, it's
it's,
not.
it's a
It has
FPS.
0 NPCs, so no, it's not. It doesn't have anybody to interact with.
And one of the things that we don't talk about when we talk about MMOs is we say, well, why is the genre dying? And it's because, and this is my personal opinion about it, one of the big reasons that it's dying is that the MMO is a game style that worked really well at a time where games were still expensive. Games were expensive. We didn't have money to
Right.
to buy a bunch of games. So investing $60 for a World of Warcraft and then paying a $10 monthly fee worked because you get all this game and all this life for a game that works.
I have a slight different theory on that, though.
Oh, okay.
I think it was more that the reason why, specifically World of Warcraft, came into such the height of popularity, it was the post AOL. The first .com bubble had burst. It was the recreation of the internet, essentially, that people were getting online and not just on AOL. They were
Right.
getting online and discovering Google and Yahoo and everybody else out there. They're discovering the full version of the internet.
You had a game
and
and a
that
social experience all
and-
wrapped into one.
Yeah, and that's
exactly.
what World of Warcraft was. It was a social experience within a online experience that brought new people together that hadn't experienced that previously. Like we experienced that previously.
Yeah.
We were already part of the not AOL internet, so we were like
I
whatever.
was on MUDs. Like,
No,
yeah,
but
we
that's-
didn't really give a shit. So we're like, cool, they're finally getting their thing.
But,
And
but you're really onto something there. I have friends today that I still talk to on a daily or weekly basis. One of them's in the group chat we all use every day, who I met playing World of Warcraft. I mean, I was in my Ventrilo server for World of Warcraft more than I played World of Warcraft, and I played World of Warcraft constantly.
I lived in an apartment complex at one point in Houston where about like a third of the apartment complex was taken up by people who I played Final Fantasy with.
Nice.
People who had moved in from other states and like put down roots in Houston, and we all played Final Fantasy and lived in the same complex.
And,
Shit,
and
yeah.
to Hector's point, also, like how many people sit on Discord all day for video games
Oh, yeah.
and communities that they don't even really pay. Like we're part of the
Oh, yeah.
Overwatch League stuff, and guess how much time I watch Overwatch League? None.
Yeah.
Ever.
So why
anymore.
am I talking about MMOs? Well, what I'm saying is there's the MMO as a genre is kind of dying, and there's no reason to kind of go back and to tread those waters. It would take a lot to really inspire people to play an MMO other than WoW or Final Fantasy right now. And freaking Amazon came out and said we're doing a Lord of the Rings MMO.
Well, they have to coincide with the Lord of the Rings TV show they're putting out.
Right.
Oh,
And if y'all don't remember that's still a thing. They're spending hundreds of millions of dollars to make a Lord of the Rings show.
If Netflix can announce a Witcher TV show and have it out the door in like 2 years, what's going on with this show? Because they announced this a long
Oh yeah,
time ago.
but the fact that Amazon's dropping all this money into a free-to-play,
Oh, is it free to play?
it's free to play.
Oh Lord.
Free to play. And what is that? What is that? When I say those words, what instantly pops into your mind?
I buy power.
Yep, absolutely. It'll have either loot boxes or tons of cosmetics or microtransactions out the wazoo.
Or you can only walk 24 steps, and then you need more movement points. And for just $1.99, you get 50 movement points, and then you can finish your walk to the next village, which is 200 movement points away.
Yeah, there's all kinds of
Good luck with
horrible
that.
things that come with this. Amazon's been trying
Y'all,
really.
y'all seriously just like gave me cancer thing, like with the like just that. I was like, oh, cool. Super don't want this to exist.
Now they did say that this this MMO is going to be separate than the TV show. It's not going to be tied into the TV show.
Okay, at least they did that right.
Yeah, let's see here. But yeah, it's really just going to be about jumping into all the stuff that Tolkien made and kind of being able to wander around that world. Again, MMO as a genre, I believe, is dead. It would take a lot to really revitalize it.
You'd have to make something
And what
exciting.
what you mean by dead is like we already said, there are still people that play these games. It's still a thriving community,
Right.
but it's not
yeah.
the height of popularity that they once were.
It's not like a new one comes out every year, and it's not like when a new one comes out, anyone is like there's any real hype for it. The hype trains for MMOs died with the phase where we went through where we were kickstarting every game, and they kickstarted like 4 MMOs, and then none of them are out, and that was like 8 years ago.
It's very true.
Yeah, it's
It's also doing an MMO based on a pre-existing franchise is so difficult. It works for Warcraft because it was Blizzard, it was their IP, and they got to expand their own world. You go into Tolkien's world,
because
and you
they
have very
created the lore for
strict
it.
rules.
That was the thing. World of Warcraft was an existing lore, but they could make up whatever lore they wanted. They could contradict themselves, which they did in World of Warcraft, and they had to go back and fix all of that. You're like, well, the games were different, and they had to change that shit. You know what you can't do with fucking Tolkien's
Tolkien?
work? Ask him to make more 8 races, or ask him to make more lands, or more characters with more stories. You just
Yep.
kind of have to invent some shit and hope it's close to this guy who made a fucking masterwork.
Yeah,
true.
I mean, we had the Shadow of Mordor and the Shadow of War games, And they took some artistic license with those games, and not even very much. And they were genuinely pretty good games. Shadow of War's loot boxes notwithstanding.
Yeah, outside of the
But
storyline and
people still-
character wise and world building wise, which is separate from loot box
Right.
shit.
But people still bitched endlessly about any license they took with any Tolkien work.
Yeah.
Like any kind of like, that's not how magic works in this universe. That's not what Shelob looks like. What are you doing? Have you guys ever read a book? And it's like, oh god, shut up.
Yeah, but I mean, also you can take the films for example. You have the Lord of the Rings films, which work because they basically just followed the books
Yeah.
pretty fucking
It was a
well.
pretty goddamn
And they-
great
And they took a little bit of liberty with some of the characters to just make the storyline more cohesive.
Yeah.
Like whenever the hobbits get saved by the random elf, why not make that a character that shows up later with Arwen? Because that character is literally only in that one chapter and never shows up again. Why not just introduce Arwen early? Cool, that works. Why don't we do that? But then we have these Hobbit movies that took too much license with the storyline that turned a book which was feasibly 2 movies at best.
Maybe. It's a short
And
book.
put it into 3 movies, expanded the living shit out of it, put characters in there that weren't even there at all. I mean, just because you're like, what's Legolas up to? He was alive during that. You know what he was doing? None of that shit. He's not in that fucking book. Fuck right off with that bullshit. So maybe
I love that we turned from a discussion about MMOs to like Tony's like a discussion we literally had on this podcast like 5 years ago. He's just rewound time and he's like, let me bring this back up because I'm
I
still
love that
angry
the
about
first
this.
thing I said is you can't adapt Lord of the Rings because people will bitch. Led right into Tony bitching endlessly about adapting Lord of the Rings badly or The Hobbit badly.
Yeah.
Which you're right, so fine.
Hey, you know what? Let's keep the adaptation train rolling though, because we did find out
do it.
this week that Netflix is going to be adapting Cuphead into a TV series.
What the actual fuck?
cool. I'm super okay with that. Whatever.
I cannot like it's.
I never beat it, so I'm okay with this.
I mean, please God, tell me it's just a cartoon, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, good. And,
And
like,
it's the
I
creators
don't
working
think
on it.
the way
Okay.
Netflix makes the TV games would work very well for Cuphead because it's such a very much it's
It's a Twitch shooter,
Yeah.
bullet hell platformer that has like Dark Souls level of difficulty. And yeah, I knew this is our TV show.
Good luck.
I think- because
Someone
the-
please
the
tell me what
world-
the plot of Cuphead is.
the world of Cuphead is very interesting with these animated creatures and how like real life objects are alive beings and
It's all that Fleischer
Yeah.
style of animation and
yeah,
very
and
classic.
expanding that and
I mean, the story is basically like Cut
princess-
makes a deal with the devil, and
Yeah.
then the devil wants to collect his due, and then you shoot things until the devil
yeah,
goes
and
away.
then, and the princess is always in another
See,
castle.
See, this
that,
game
that kind of
sounds like, and I've been wanting. I haven't had a chance to play Cuphead, but I followed it during its development, and I really love and appreciate the art style in
Oh,
it.
it's gorgeous.
I think that the major failing and the big loophole in the plot of this game is that they're having to go through this bullet hell
Yeah.
to like take down the devil and all this, when really you just need to like get a fiddle, and then that's how
Yeah,
fix it.
you just
That's
play
all you do.
learn to play the fiddle and come back,
But-
and you're good.
But Cups can't play fiddles.
Are you
Hey,
sure?
well, so
According to their world lore, I guess, because
Just
that's
think-
only-
I
think-
it's
I
literally
think
the only argument I have
This is your
against it.
fan theory, buddy.
just to add a little bit of an extra
It's
layer,
just a continuation of your fan theory.
I saw somewhere, I forget exactly where, about how the like the game, what the game represents, and like the deeper meaning of all of what you're seeing. Apparently, it's about moonshining.
Interesting.
Yeah, the whole thing is like one's a cup of tea, but if you play co-op, the other's a cup of coffee, and you start in the house and you're a kettle. And I'm pretty sure you're like making illegal alcohol and then get punished for it. Like that's kind of the overarching like theme through the game.
This is a very deep game.
Pretty crazy, right? Yeah.
Okay, let's move on from there.
Explains the alligator.
I want to talk a little bit. I'm a little worked up over this next topic, to be perfectly honest. This is something that we've fought about a lot on this show, and that's the future of the Evil Dead franchise. Of course, I know at least Tony and I were giant fans of the remake, the Fede Alvarez remake.
I didn't watch it.
It's-
Oh my god!
Hey Hector,
it's
that's
so
your
good.
homework. Watch that movie. It's
Oh my
fucking
God,
great.
Yeah, it is so beautiful.
I mean, I didn't. I mean,
Okay, we say it's great.
no.
Most people didn't like it.
Well, that's the thing. The reason I didn't watch it is because I have so much love for the first one, and I did not want a second one.
And I love the original trilogy of Evil Dead movies.
Mm-hmm.
They have a special place in my heart. I was young, and they were just right up my alley.
Oh, yeah.
I tried to watch all of Ash versus the Evil Dead, and I feel that I've grown out of the series.
Yeah, it went. It kind of. It turned the mirror back on itself too many times. It like kind of kept making everything that it was known for bigger and bigger until it was just kind of a giant parody of itself.
Right.
And I kind of stopped after the second season.
Right. And so when it comes to the Evil Dead, I love the remake, and I would love for Alvarez to come back and work on the second one. It was a great horror film. It was beautiful.
But Evil Dead 2 was a remake of Evil Dead 1. So what are we gonna do with Evil Dead 2 now?
Well, I would hope he would.
Well,
just
see, so that's the thing is, all right. So the way Mr. Alvarez did the Evil Dead remake, it was very serious in nature.
Yes.
Okay.
It was a little silly, much like the original,
Right.
but mostly serious. He can come back and remake that, but make it a little bit sillier, and I'm totally fucking okay with it because it was so fucking good the first time.
Yeah.
What
I feel
I'm
you.
not okay with is that Sam Raimi came out this week and
what?
said that he's working on ideas right now to keep the Evil Dead franchise moving on. Now, this is after Bruce Campbell's already said that he's retired from playing the role.
Like he wants to make Evil Dead 4?
Like he wants to do stuff for the
Like in
film.
his continuation?
So
Maybe he can get Netflix to do an animated series of it.
this is where it gets complicated because obviously we don't know what the future of Evil Dead is. He actually said that Sam Raimi said that he would love for Alvarez to come back and them work on another Evil Dead movie together.
That'd be neat.
Yeah, I would much like the first one where Sam Raimi produced it and stayed the fuck away from it and allowed the film to exist under its own merit.
Yeah.
Which is the way it should be done.
Yeah, that's what I would. He said he would like that to happen, but he's like Alvarez is kind of a big deal now, so I don't know if he would. I don't know.
Yeah,
if he
no,
would,
they fucked up by like saying no, we're not going to let him make another one. And he went, all right, well, I'm going to go and have this huge fucking career, but y'all have your head up your ass, so fine.
And they didn't really let him have another one because they wanted to do this Ash versus the Evil Dead show.
They didn't. They were like, no, we don't like his interpretation of it, and that's what pissed me off because like. Sam Raimi was on board with producing it, but immediately, whenever it was like, it wasn't even in theaters yet. It was already like, yeah, I'm already taking Ash and I'm doing his TV show with it. Sorry.
Yeah.
And you're like, cool. You literally just ruined this entire premiere of this movie by immediately saying that we're gonna go back to the old one.
Yeah, it's the same reason that like we didn't get an actual DC Universe Flash movie. It's because they announced it like after the pilot of the Flash, and everyone was like, "Well, why would you just step all over the TV show Flash's nuts like that, saying you're going to do a big movie?" Then the Flash got popular, and they're like, "Oh, fuck this one."
Yeah. Also, because as much people like that actor, what's his name?
Grant Gustin or Ezra Miller?
Yeah, Ezra Miller. I don't like him.
Meh.
Maybe I just don't like any character I've ever seen him play. I think maybe I just don't think his characters are that entertaining.
I liked him in Fantastic Beasts.
When it comes to everything surrounding the
those movies
Evil
are big
Dead, I have a problem with it because I did love those movies growing up. I do feel that I did age out of them, and that's fine. And I did love the remake so much. And hearing Sam Raimi just being like, "So we're just going to go back to the well," and I feel like Sam Raimi's not going to bring anything new to the table when it comes to the world of Evil Dead. And that's sad to say because that's his world. Maybe I'm wrong, and I hope I'm wrong.
Well,
I hope to be proven wrong.
I want to pick at you for a second because you've said because you keep saying you aged out of it. No, there's the show Ash vs. Evil Dead was a trashy fucking show, and it was definitely too much. But I love me some trashy TV. I'm talking like Blood Drive. I'm talking Z Nation. If you've never seen Z Nation, it's better than The Walking Dead for all the reasons that trash is great. I love stuff like that. Yeah. But Ash vs. Evil Dead was just way too much. Like, I don't know.
It felt childish compared
It
to...
It was being.
I can go back
It was
and
the
watch
childish
Army of
idea of
Darkness.
being
Oh, yeah.
offensive for the sake of being offensive.
Yeah, and gross for the sake of being gross.
Yeah.
Like you know, it'd be like fighting like some kind of ghoul in a bar, and there'd be a ceiling fan, and he'd look up, and he'd look at her, and he'd look up, and he'd look at her,
Yeah.
and
He'd look at the camera.
and he'd look at the camera, and then he'd like cut out her intestines and ring them around the ceiling fan, and even though the ceiling fan could maybe hold like 10 pounds, it like rings her up and spins her around and chops her in half, and you're like, yeah, that's fun and great, and then he gets splattered with
and
green
those
blood.
are really
and, like,
cute
pus.
ideas. Whenever we were like 14,
Yeah.
like, and
But
that's
when
the
it's every
age-
episode, it gets really
but
gratuitous.
yeah, but what I'm saying is that's the age at which we watch the movies, and we're like, oh, these are really funny. But we are not 14 anymore. We
Yeah.
might mentally still kind of be there, but
I don't know, and I still feel like I can go back to, the original Evil Dead trilogy and still have a fondness for it. Even Army
yeah.
of Darkness, which is very corny.
Yeah, it's corny, but
I
I
loved
love Army of Darkness.
see, the thing is, all right, so everybody talks about how much they love Army of Darkness, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, I love the Evil Dead trilogy. No, you fucking don't. You like the last half of the Evil Dead 2 because it's the funny part, and you like Army of Darkness. You don't give a fuck about the original movie,
I like
and you
the
don't give a
original movie.
fuck about the first half of the second one.
I like the
because that's the part that actually has a plot line, or not so has a plot line. That's the part that's trying to tell something deeper. And then the funny part happens, and everybody's okay with it. That's what they enjoy.
Yeah.
Nobody actually wants to sit down, which is what I like about Mr. Alvarez's version of Evil Dead. It took it took a little bit of the funny and said, no, this is actually a serious subject that we're going to talk about, but under the guise of somebody gets infested by a witch, and
Right.
and it's there's more to the story than what is being portrayed, and it's more than just the stupid slapstick comedy aspect that especially came about further and further when you get into Ash versus the Evil Dead, that it wasn't telling anything important anymore.
Yeah,
Right,
pretty
right.
much.
And that is true. Like, you had a storyline that did go even through Army of Darkness that was kind of Ash's story, and it was this kind of cohesive thing. Ash versus the Evil Dead, literally the plot for it is, hey, remember that Ash guy when he did all those wacky, zany antics? Let's turn those up to 11 and see what happens now
Yeah.
that he's
Now
old.
he's doing him while he's old.
Right.
Yeah, which is kind of really shit. It's
There's
like,
too many old man jokes. I don't know. Like, there's a lot going on in chat right now about, and someone says they like Z Nation, and yes, the discussion of like what is trashing, what isn't. For everyone in chat and for everyone listening, one of the shows I mentioned was Blood Drive, and I don't think anyone that I know besides me watched this show.
you tried to get me to watch it,
I tried to get everyone to watch it.
and I still kind of want to watch it.
It is the greatest trash ever. It is every bit of like the 80s style grindhouse type stuff, like not 70s, like 80s style grindhouse, and like with all of the Raimi influences, but like more Evil Dead than Army of Darkness.
Yeah, because Raimi was 70s, and so it obviously has to be a continuation of that.
Right. But oh god, like it was a lot of fun. It was fun top to bottom.
Well, end of 70s, early 80s,
Yeah.
but his influence came from the 70s, especially like 70s comic books,
Oh,
which
of
is
course.
why if you watch his Spider-Man movies, they are very much the 1970s Spider-Man. And you just have to kind of accept that, and which is why we've moved on and have made 2 other Spider-Men since then. 3, I guess, if you also
Oh no!
count the
So the
animated
reason
one.
we've made 3 Spider-Man is because Sony needs to keep their license.
And I really just want to dial it back to my main point for why I was so kind of frustrated at all of this, is that I just don't know where I see Sam Raimi having a future with the Evil Dead franchise. Again, weird to say because I know it's his, but this is kind of
Right.
like the Lucas thing all over again. It's
True.
like, has the property grown past the creator? And I want him to come back and do really amazing things with it. I just don't need another fucking Ash versus the
In
Evil
one
Dead.
case, the property has grown past the creator, but the creator, much like George Lucas and the first 3 episodes, 1, 2, and 3, he kind of came back to the well and fucked it a bunch. And we didn't care for that. Which
It
is
was
why we
not-
didn't need Ash versus the Evil Dead, and why we don't need Sam Raimi making more of a mess with this. Let it go. You've done your work. You put in your fucking time.
You created it, man.
You,
Just
yes,
let it
he
be.
created it, and that's wonderful. You created this great thing, but you know what happens when you fuck with the painting too much? It turns into mud. Leave it the fuck alone.
Right,
It was done a while ago.
Maybe the idea that he like kind of birthed it's not exactly a whole genre, but it is definitely a flavor of horror that is like the Raimi style. Maybe he needs to do the right thing and let other people work inside that flavor rather than keeping it all to himself.
Yeah. Okay, so spoilers for next week. San Diego Comic-Con is right around the corner, and we're going to be doing a big old San Diego Comic-Con talk. So there's going to
So
be
we'll be discussing all the
When
TV
is-
and movie news that's coming out of the comic book convention.
I was gonna say when does it start?
Starts on Wednesday, I think.
Okay, good. I have a lot of panels to watch then.
Yeah, so there'll be a lot of stuff. But we are starting to get the slow trickle of early stuff that's going to be coming out. This next DC project, I'm actually really excited for. So they've announced a new series that's going to be coming out. It's going to start, in, I believe, in October. And it's going to be called Tales from the Dark Multiverse.
Okay.
If you are familiar at all with kind of the What If Marvel comics,
Okay.
this is really what that is.
Okay, so DC had Elseworlds,
Right.
and Marvel had What If, but Elseworlds could have been was a little more all over the place than the What Ifs.
So Elseworlds really was like, what if Superman landed in Russia, or like, what if Green Lanterns like never found Hal Jordan, or something like that.
Yeah, and it, Gotham by Gotham by
By
Gaslight,
Gaslight, yeah.
So
which
that's-
is
that's
fucking
the-
amazing.
I always end up calling it gaslighting Batman. I just imagine
I mean,
like
that's
Batman.
that's a comic book right in and of
I
itself. Why haven't we
imagine
done
just
that
Batman
one?
just telling people that what they know isn't true.
So that'd be a good TV show, actually. So when we talk about Elseworlds, we're always talking about kind of these weird alternate dimensions. But what this new Tales from the Dark Multiverse story is doing is it's taking these stories that we all know and love and saying, like, what if one thing happened differently? So, like, one of the first ones that's going to be coming out, Scott Snyder is going to be working on it. And these are
right.
one shots, by the way.
Okay.
So
I do like
episode?
I do like my one shots. You know, they're easy to pick up. You know, like generally like you're like $4. And you're like, cool. I'll read something weird for a week.
yeah. So what we have is the first one is going to be done by Scott Snyder, and it's going to be Batman Nightfall #1. Is what it's going to be called.
Okay.
So we're
Okay.
retreading
Right.
the Bane story essentially.
But what if it wasn't Batman?
And no, this
Or
is-
what if it wasn't Bane?
What
Or
happens?
Batman
What if it was
Batman.
neither of them?
All right.
What happens in a world where Azrael continued to be Batman?
Ooh,
All right.
cool.
And this will have the son of Bane essentially kind of rising up to fight Azrael. Azrael may not be a good guy though.
Azrael, I don't.
He could be the Batman.
My
that-
memory of Azrael is that he never was a good guy.
I was gonna say, if I remember right, Azrael was the Batman that just murders people.
Right.
Yeah,
Straight up.
he's never been. He was
Murder
never a good guy.
Yeah, it's like
Murder claws.
Batman, but like knives and killing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And pouches.
He was
Yeah.
he was the same thing as the Super Jesus Superman, who was like Super Jesus, but I'm gonna kill all of you.
That's exactly what Azrael was. Yes.
Yeah, they're basically the same fucking character.
Yeah. So it's
Imagine that.
It's a really cool concept. It's Scott Snyder that's going to be working on it. Obviously, his work right now in the Batman landscape is
Yeah.
just.
So what I'm hearing about this is they're
killer.
gonna tell a story about Bane's son doing the good thing and killing the Batman that murders.
So this is a
Yeah.
DC Dark label, but it's like
No, it's
Elseworlds?
it's not a. It's as far as I know, this is not going to be a Black Label story.
Black Label. That's what I meant.
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
It's just called Tales from the Dark Multiverse. That's it's
Okay.
kind of like.
So yeah, they
it's-
did the
it's
they did the
anthology
DC metal
type.
and they did
Gotcha,
the
okay,
DC
okay.
dark stuff, which was all like it's their angst shit.
Yeah.
So this is angst shit, but the Elseworlds of angst shit.
We don't need angst shit. We got like all those heavy metal comics. Like, come on, that was
And then
great.
and then the
DC's all over the place.
the next
man.
one that was announced actually is going to be Tales from the Dark Multiverse: The Death of Superman. So we will. be
But
going-
there's no Superman.
Well, I mean that's
Or he just stays
it's
the
kind-
fuck dead
That's
this
He
kind of
just
how it
stays the
works.
fuck dead. Now I would like that. Maybe we do one where Superman just dies, and you've got these 5 other dudes who are killing each other. You got Jesus Superman. You got the Clone Boy. You got Steel.
So this one is going to be. So this takes place obviously after the death of Superman. Let's see here. The byline for it is: it explores what happens in a reality where the Man of Steel's demise at the hands of Doomsday leads Lois Lane to gaining powers and setting out on a bloody mission for revenge.
nice.
Okay.
Lois Lane is John Wick,
Yeah, pretty much.
and Superman is the puppy.
but she gets Superman's powers because they've done that story actually quite a few times.
They did it in the New Adventures of Lois and Clark. Yeah,
Now
they,
we-
they did it a lot.
We don't know the full details about these other like Tales from the Dark Multiverse stories, but they did say that they were going to be covering Teen Titans: The Judas Contract,
Neat.
Blackest Night, and Infinite Crisis are all going to have these Tales from the Dark Multiverse.
Okay, those are actually
stories.
really good.
Is
options.
Infinite
Those
Crisis-
are really good options to kind of fuck with.
Is Infinite Crisis going to come out anywhere near definitely what the crossover is going to be, which is Infinite Crisis?
I have no clue. They haven't given a release date for those, and we don't know a whole lot about them.
Okay.
I would suspect that we'll probably hear more. There's a lot of panels going on at Comic-Con for DC.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that we'll get a lot of that information. Also coming out of DC early news is that John Carpenter is going to be working on a Year of the Villain Joker comic.
Wait, is Year of the Villain the thing that I don't
It's,
know
it's
about?
currently ongoing. This is the
Okay.
Year of the Villain.
Yeah, we're
DC.
in the Year of the
I got
Villain.
you. Like
Yeah.
the year of Luigi and Nintendo.
Yeah,
gotcha.
it's kind of like that.
Sure.
And that's
I don't-
what we're doing.
Yes.
Last year was the year. Was it last year?
I don't know.
I'm old. Years just go
See,
by.
I just thought
See, the
every
thing is,
year
I
was
thought
a
Year of the Villain was like 2 years ago. Like, I straight up remember they're like, we did like this Harley Quinn at #1 and Joker #1. I was like,
Can we have a
cool.
year of
Wasn't that
Harley
like
Quinn,
2 or
please?
3 years
Tony.
ago?
They do that in comics. They just repeat things.
Yeah, I know, but like I thought that was what it was already called, and I thought it was like 3 years ago at this
It
point.
was. They did it.
Please give us a year of Harley Quinn.
So this is the-
you cowards.
So this is like the decade of villains.
It is. So, but John Carpenter coming in for one comic, it's gonna be a one shot. And the concept is, I'm just gonna read this to you because
Is he also
There
going
you
to do the soundtrack to it because that'd be awesome?
so straight up, this is what John Carpenter is working on. Now a human-alien hybrid, Lex Luthor has made his appeal to the world, asking its citizens to embrace doom and give in once and for all to evil, humanity's true nature. In exchange, he will grant them the tools to ascend to their ultimate selves. While some DC villains and heroes are willing to hear what Apex Lex has to offer, the clown prince of crime isn't going to wait around until Lex gets to him. This puts the Joker on a mission to get his swagger back in a world gone bad by outbatting everyone else, proving that the greatest evil is always the one that leaves them laughing.
okay, but like,
I'm the most bad.
okay, but like, no, like, I don't want this at all. I don't want
know.
that story sounds so dumb. Like,
I'm
it
down
sounds-
for any Joker story, to be
It's
honest.
John Carpenter, man.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
this is
true.
gonna be
First
so
off,
ridiculous.
let's not fuck with Lex Luthor like that. Like, all right,
I know that you're a Lex Luthor apologist.
no, you're a Superman apologist. Lex Luthor's always right. That's the fucking problem. And,
He's right the way Thanos is right, which means he's wrong.
but he's incredibly right. You're like, oh, your points are way
No,
too good.
Net good doesn't mean things are just good now.
At this point, yes, it does.
If we
you
killed-
take the only good you can get anymore.
we're gonna try and save the planet, right? Stop global warming. Good. I'm gonna kill every human on the planet.
Done.
Boom.
Good.
Reversed. Done.
Yeah, it is.
World recovers in a year.
Well, no, we definitely fucked it up past that.
10
There was way past that too. There was this really fun series that they did years and years ago, like 20-something years ago on Discovery Channel, about what would happen if like humanity just stopped existing. Like, what would happen if humanity was like, if Thanos snap was like, oh fuck, half of humanity. I meant all of humanity. My bad. And they're all gone. Like, what would the ramifications be for nature? And they went into things like, how long it would take like an apartment complex to dissolve back into the earth versus all the nuclear power plants, and what happens if we stop maintaining them because humans aren't around,
Yeah.
and how they explode.
They don't explode, they melt down. So we have a lot of... You need to watch Chernobyl.
Well, but I mean by explode, I mean they stop working so good, and a lot of nuclear shit comes out.
They create an area that is now hostile to life, yes.
Okay, we got
But
one
the
more
new
thing
life
we have to
comes
cover
out of
here.
it.
Well, eventually.
We're going to kind of wrap up the weekly news, but we are going to keep on this DC train. So we know that the Vertigo imprint is going away.
Yeah.
We don't know what's happening to some of those titles. It's
I have to get
But
the
Vertigo
rest of
isn't
my...
making new titles, am I right?
No.
No, Vertigo has comics that are currently coming out.
But they're
Like,
finishing
Like
them.
Constantine
Yeah.
is currently coming out under the Vertigo imprint.
Oh, I thought Constantine had ended a while ago.
No.
Oh.
No, but they have to
I
finish.
was
They're
mistaken.
finishing up their runs. Constantine's going to be one that just literally switches its name number.
Okay.
its
Right,
number will
so-
stay the same, but like the badge will change.
Right.
So instead of Constantine going to the DC Black Label banner, what's happening with specifically Constantine
Yeah.
is there is an imprint under DC Comics that exists, and only very specific titles are allowed into this imprint, and it's called the Sandman universe.
Oh,
There's
I
only like
gotcha.
4 titles, I think. I think there's
Just the Sandman ones?
I want to say like Books of Magic is one of them,
Which is yeah.
anything that the Sandman Origins or whatever that they're working on right now. They think maybe Swamp Thing might be in there. The Dreaming, Books of Magic, Lucifer, and House of Whispers.
I was going to ask if Lucifer was in there. I was pretty sure.
Okay,
Well,
so
part of Sandman.
Yeah.
that makes sense because a lot of those are just offshoots of the Sandman. So again, why it's called the Sandman universe. It also makes sense because Constantine actually does show up, much like Superman. Superman shows up in one like image, but Constantine shows up in like one page of Sandman as well. But also historically, Constantine has always been a Vertigo title,
Right.
And except for that little bit where they put him part of the main DC universe, and everyone were like, "Cool, you just like cut the balls off this character and like made him not interesting at all because they couldn't show what was historically been in the comic book."
Right.
And then they put him back under Vertigo, and everybody's like, "Yay, he's back under Vertigo!" And there's this big. I remember we on the show were like, "Big celebration! He's back under Vertigo!" And this going away is I didn't know they were going to do a Sandman-esque sub imprint thing.
So this imprint's been going on for a while.
Yeah, well,
these other
that's-
titles have existed. They're all under the
Right.
Sandman. These are titles that are specifically curated by people who work with and around Neil Gaiman.
Okay.
Yeah, but they were always just part of Vertigo.
So they
It
basically
wasn't-
said, like, don't insert your shit into my universe and don't call shit from my universe out into yours. I don't want any Sandman shit in your Superman comic books.
Well, it was more like Neil Gaiman going, "Leave my shit alone
Right.
because I said so."
I don't really think that that's the issue. I think that there's no problems with having these crossovers. I'm sure that Constantine will show up in many things.
Well, sure.
I mean, right now he's in the middle of Batman Damned.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's a character that will show up. But I feel like when they're trying to... He's an orphan right now, and we got to figure out where to home him.
Yeah.
And we could be like, well, we could just put him on Black Label like we did before, but like,
Yeah.
he can't really cross over into the main DC universe if he's on Black Label. What do we do with him? Like, where do we home him? And then
Yeah, and nobody was happy when he
And
was under
then
the main DC title.
Neil,
So like,
Neil
eh.
Gaiman and Amanda Palmer show up, and they're like, "We're looking for an orphan," and they're like, that little cute kid smoking. We'll take that one.
Yeah.
And then that's what they're doing with him.
The 8-year-old in the trench coat with the cigarette. Yeah. Well, I want that one.
I want that one.
I seriously, if they were going to adopt a child, that sounds like the child they would adopt.
100%.
Probably. So I'm okay with this move.
Yeah.
Especially because this opens the door for him, for like Constantine to really play in the Sandman universe if they want him to. And that.
See, I'm
that's
a big
exciting.
fan of keeping the Sandman universe not existing anymore. Like, we did the Sandman origin stuff. We've had the offshoots. We had fucking the Death series, which I'm still not happy about. We had Lucifer stuff, which I'm still not happy about. Like, mostly because as other people playing with Neil Gaiman's Sandbox,
Sure.
and I don't like that.
Sure, but he likes it.
Yeah, I get that, but I don't like that.
He's
okay
literally approving these things, saying, "I like these things. Please put these things in."
So write your own awesome thing and be like, no one can touch it.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to come up with my own fucking thing based on an existing franchise that everybody forgot about 50 years ago.
Yep.
And
Well, you can just do Sandman then.
well, it hasn't been 50 years yet.
Yeah.
And also, way too many people like Sandman. I like Sandman.
No.
I couldn't write Sandman.
Not that. I'm not saying.
Oh, you're talking about
nobody
the
liked it.
original Sandman.
Yeah, I'm
the
not
guy
saying-
with the sleep gun that does show up in like one panel, much like it's
Or
the
you
same
could
as
do
shit
it, or
Superman
you could
shows
do
up.
it about like Spider-Man Sandman, and just call it Sandman just to be cheeky.
You just call it pocket sand.
Yeah, pocket sand.
All right, that's everything that
I
we
couldn't
have.
write any. I could never write a Sandman issue because I would have to put a reference in to fucking Dale Dribble. Be like, pocket sand.
All right, that's everything that we have for the news this week. When we come back from our break, we'll be going into our main topic for the podcast in the boss room.
We had a lot of news today.
We did.
I discovered that the black part of the shoe, the tread part, is coming off on my shoe.
No, that's
I
exciting.
I haven't even worn like
Yeah, go for it.
the texture's still on these. I haven't worn these into the fucking ground. Dude, shoes are fucking being made shittier and shittier every fucking day.
All depends on the shoes you buy.
Dude, these are fucking like decent New Balances. They're fat people shoes. They're fat dad shoes.
Fat Dad shoes should be pretty good.
All right.
No, yeah, that's.
if you have any
it's literally
questions,
fat dad.
comments-
Look at these shoes. That's a fat dad shoe.
That's a Fat Dad shoe.
If you have
Yeah.
any questions, comments, concerns about the stuff that we're going to be talking about, it's going to be a little bit heavy, but it was a really, man, I don't know. I don't know what
If
to
you have
do.
any comments, questions, or concerns, keep them to your fucking self. That's
No.
what real men do.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll have opinions, and we'll do our best to react to them.
Yeah, please. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's jump into it.
Boss room.
Hey, adventurers, welcome back to the show. This is the Boss Room. It is our main talking point for the podcast, sometimes related to the news, sometimes not. Okay.
Okay.
In this
All
week's
right, all
Boss
right.
Room, we are going to be talking about the shadier business of gaming. So recently,
Blue boxes?
there's going to be
Not exactly, but kinda.
recently there's been an incident in big air quotes with Ubisoft and their most recent Assassin's Creed game that has gotten a lot of attention in the media.
Wait. People are still playing Assassin's Creed games?
Very
Yes.
much so. Not only that, but the latest one.
Origins or some shit?
No, Origins was the Egyptian one, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
the new one is
Greek or
Greek. I'm totally blanking on the name, but it is
Assassin's
Greek.
Creed.
It's Odyssey.
It's Odyssey. Thank you. That's
Okay.
perfect.
I was gonna call it the
Odyssey.
Greekening, but
The Greek.
The Assassin's Creed, the Greekening.
So, did you have a whole breakdown, or I
do.
guess I can? Yeah.
So, in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, they recently brought in a story mode creator. Really cool tools so that if you've ever wanted to make an Assassin's Creed level, you can get in there and you can make whatever storyline you want and just have a whole lot of fun with the engine in the world. Things, you know, lots of games do this.
For
so
all
if you,
intents and
if you didn't
purposes-
like actual history, make your own shit up because that's what we do to now.
Well,
That's what we're doing.
For all intents and
Making things
purposes,
up.
it is a level creator. It's a quest creator, a la Mario Maker.
Yeah.
It's exactly that.
Okay.
Yeah,
And,
so-
and it's in Assassin's Creed, which is interesting. They would include something like that, and something that's becoming more and more RPGified.
Yes.
As
It is a
there's-
very RPGified Assassin's Creed. There are different tech trees for different styles of weapons and like different stats
Yeah,
that
this
you
is
have.
this is the last one that I enjoyed playing at all was the boat part of Black Flag.
Black Flag,
And,
best one.
and that was, and then you get annoyed because you have to like wander around and jump on shit to fucking find songs, and you're like, "Fuck you! I don't want to do that. I just want to do the boat shit."
no, you want to do the song ones because then the
Well,
guys
yes,
sing
the
it when
thing
you're on
is,
the boat. It's the other stuff you don't want to do.
You want the songs, but maybe I get the songs by killing a fucking shark or something, and not have to jump on top of this building and chase the fucking music.
Tony's angry at the wrong thing right now.
For real.
I'm just angry
You're
at Assassin's
complaining about
Creed.
Black Flag, and we're not there.
So,
But they've added more numbers. It started with Origins. They started adding numbers and levels, and if you fight a character that's too high of a level, you just get your ass stomped.
Yes, there was Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, and then we ended up with Liberty, which was the French one, and the Syndicate, which was the fifth one, which was in England. And there was a girl in that one. That was their big accomplishment. We put a girl in this.
You
time.
finally put a girl in a video game.
We modeled a female
Right.
into our video game.
I mean, like,
so there's
Mortal
a lot,
Kombat did
there are a
that.
lot of positive things that, by the way, Assassin's Creed has done.
That's true. No, okay. So I wanna take a moment to talk about the good parts because I'm about to shit all over this game. Assassin's Creed Odyssey has some very, very interesting, very cool things in it. One of my favorites is that there is a mode in this game, and it's not like a mode that you select, it's like a thing that you download. But it was created as teaching software for ancient Greece. It literally takes the entire game out, leaves the game world open, and allows you to tour this immaculately recreated like area of ancient Greece that they have, while someone is your tour guide and walks you around telling you about the culture, telling you about the young boys and what their lives were like, and the people and these, the poor people and the rich people and this class of people and what they did every day.
That is super
And then
interesting.
at the end, you can take a quiz about it. Like, they'll quiz you on it. It is beautiful, and for all the shit that I'm about to give this game, the fact that they use their powers for good sometimes makes me really happy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's-
there was a fire recently.
Yes, the Notre Dame fire, and they created it, and they're using the actual game, and I want to say that one was Liberty. That was the French one. Yeah, so they're using it because they went like fucking brick for brick and recreated Notre Dame.
Yeah, they recreated it with high resolution scans, and this is the most high resolution scans anybody had ever made of the entire thing.
Because
and they
why
really
would
have
anyone
all of
do
it.
that? And so when they are trying to restore Notre Dame, the best resource they have to recreate this cathedral in real life is in that video game.
Right.
So this is something that I have enjoyed about the Assassin's Creed games my entire time of their existence was the history aspect of them. When I first started playing the first Assassin's Creed trilogy, which takes place in like Italy and shit, I was like, cool. I already know this history because
During the Renaissance.
Yeah, during the Renaissance, because I took art history as a class. So Renaissance art is a lot of politics.
Basically, the history of the Renaissance.
Yeah, the history of the Renaissance. So you're discovering who all these people are by all these paintings that got created. So you know all the names and the places, and I studied it. So I was playing this game going, I literally know all of this, and it's really cool that you do kill people like where they died at that certain point in time. Like, I just wish that it didn't have this stupid Assassin's Creed plotline attached to it, that it was actually what happened. And the fact that in Odyssey, you can get rid of the stupid Assassin's Creed plotline and actually go with what fucking happened.
Yeah.
And that is amazing. There are things that are great about the Assassin's Creed franchise.
There really are.
But they're bogged down with so much bullshit.
And that's what we need to get
And that's what we have to get into, yeah.
So here's the things about Assassin's Creed Odyssey before James tells you what they're currently doing. Here's what they did when they started, when they
I'm sorry, my chair's really creaky today.
when they first released the game, Tony is right. They did RPGify it quite a bit to the point where every enemy you may fight in the game, down to like a rabid boar, has a level. And levels are treated very, very strictly in this game because you have a level.
I've been hunting. Animals don't have levels. Aside from the bear is the harder one to kill.
And some guards have levels, and there are tiers of guards, and you can find like a tier 1 guard that's like way higher level than you. You cannot kill that guard. The thing is, like, the levels are gated so extremely that if an NPC is 1 or 2 or 3 levels above you, they're impossible to kill.
It's like Divinity
for you.
level.
It's nuts. So this game comes out, and that is the system in place, and you're going along playing the game, and each quest gives you a certain amount of XP for you to level up so you can tackle the next quest. However, it is, and you will never convince me otherwise, specifically designed to the point where if you only play the main quest, you will never have enough experience to do the next main quest unless
you're forced to do side quests.
Unless you do side quests. Now, side quests give you a very small amount of XP. Now, there are a fuck ton of side quests. It's a giant open world game, and it's an Assassin's Creed game. So there are a fuck ton of open world quests, side quests. But they give you a very small amount of XP. So gap between main missions that you're trying to do to continue the plot of the game.
Yeah, you just want to fucking play the damn story.
Could be hours in between of you grinding out these side quests. And here's the rub.
See, that's immediately making me go like, I don't want to play that game because I just want to sometimes play the story.
Right, and if you enjoy those quests, more power to you. And a lot of people defend this game by saying, I always had fun and I was never underleveled. Here's the rub. Given the design of the game, they also sold experience boosters as microtransactions. So you can just give them another $5 and boom, there's all your XP, and now you can continue the story of the game. Now go ahead.
So this week, when the new story creator mode dropped onto Assassin's Creed, one of the first things that people did with it is make XP farm levels.
Which is, by the way, incredibly common. Every Mario Maker, as soon as it is released, there are levels to increase your stats in the game, where you can just sit there and the level plays itself and you get points for it. It happens in every game that they create level creators for. It's standard.
I'm going to go back to something that maybe people that don't play these types of games might remember. This little series called Halo. That did put in a kind of a horde mode. This was in the
Halo 3.
It was in 3 or Reach.
Pretty sure it was 3.
Where waves of enemies would come at you, and you don't like 4 waves of enemies, but they put modifiers in there, and you could say, "Hey, I'm gonna jack up the gravity to this. I'm gonna turn the XP up to just ginormous. I'm going to do all these things because they let you edit,
Right.
And there were daily achievements to go and do things, and you
Right.
could unlock armor and shit. The fastest way to do them was to mess with the thing and give yourself the most amount of XP for the least amount of work. Gamers are always going to find the fastest, easiest way to do something.
And this is exactly what happened in Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Right. So, story creator mode comes out, people make XP farm missions, and then some of them start getting removed from the visible list of... You load in the game, you're like, well, I want to see custom levels.
Yeah.
These maps started disappearing. Not they were completely removed, but they were hidden from view. You had to really search for them to find them. So Ubisoft came out with a statement, and I'm going to go ahead and just read it to you. This is what they had to say about these XP farming zones. Story Creator Mode was designed to be a tool for players to let their creativity and imagination run free as they build their own stories to share with others, using a modified version of the tools our own designers use to develop quests in the game. These exploits, is what he calls these levels, specifically exploits, risk jeopardizing the overall quality, integrity, and purpose of the Story Creator Mode and results in less visibility for the creative, interesting, and frankly fantastic community stories that have been published.
Or
So that's going to be a fucking yikes from me, dog. Because if creating a level that gives you XP easily is exploitative and diminishes the quality of the game, what the fuck do you have to say about giving you $5 for some experience?
if this game, this is where I have to kind of defend it. If it did not have the XP booster purchase for real money, I would completely agree with this statement.
Maybe. I don't know.
I would
They
say-
would have had to have seen this coming, and I'd still be calling them dumbasses for being upset about it.
Yeah, no, they're dumb
No,
for
at
being
that point, I
upset
would have
about
called
it.
it. If it didn't have microtransactions, I would say I paid $60 for my fucking game. Let me run around in it how I
Yeah,
want.
let me do it. Look, if I want
So
to be
that's-
an overpowered
so
get
that's
in
one of
my
the things.
game,
Whenever-
let me make the level.
Whenever you come up with a game, you're coming up with a character difficulty, especially if you're RPGifying a game, especially like Assassin's Creed, where you have to make arbitrary level caps to make you go do more missions to spend more time in the game. And this isn't meant to make you buy microtransactions, because this has been before microtrans existed. This type of gaming existed. We were making games this way already, but then somebody was like, "But wait, we can charge them $5 and make them bypass product to go on further," and they're okay with that because they're making money off the deal, right? And
Now when people get it for free with a free tool that they gave everyone.
and because the level creator was a free edition that was, I guess, part of the release, like you knew it was coming out when you bought the game, right?
As far as I know,
this
yeah.
wasn't something that they were like, "Oh, by the way, 3 months later we added some shit." So this was known beforehand, right? Like
Yeah.
Because if
I
it
think
was something
so.
they added 3 months later, then it's not exactly. They're not really.
I don't know if it was planned on launch, but I know that we had known it was coming for a while, and now that it's out, and all the players did exactly the thing that they do with every level
Yeah,
creator.
no, I was
ever
talking
in this
about like what I
game.
did in Halo. I unlocked so many achievements
Yeah.
within 5 seconds of modifying a few controls and going,
Right.
oh, cool, those achievements are done now.
And
I don't have to worry about that.
And now imagine if like Microsoft made like the surprise Pikachu face and then took that away. Like, oh no, you're doing it.
You didn't do the one thing that we know we would expect anybody to do that plays a video game is to use any exploit that we have in this to do either a speed run or to gain experience points.
So
I'm
when
sorry,
when we
like,
are
duh.
discussing this issue, given the statement that Ubisoft presented, you need to understand that that PR bullshit that they're trying to feed all of us is
bullshit.
It's exactly
It is
that.
the most calling the user created content in the tool that they gave them. First of all, someone went into their game and obviously liked their game enough to buy it and create their own level in it. That's already a fan of your game. To accuse them of creating an exploit
It's not
and
an
then
exploit
turning around and selling them that same exploit for money while simultaneously removing their map from view that is exploitative. Fuck off.
Well, first
Like,
off, they're
full on.
I
wrong.
think
They're
that
wrong
we-
in their naming because it's not exploitive because they put that in the game.
No,
by
no.
putting it in the game, by making those tools available, you have to understand that people are going to use those tools to make a thing. That's the entire fucking point of this. You're not exploiting a process by making a thing. You are doing literally what the thing is meant to do.
Right, and I think that it's safe to say that we can toss the term anti-consumerism around
100%
during this discussion.
Yes. They literally are delisting things that players want for the sake of them selling us
I have a question though.
microtransactions.
All right, so they're making it like they're either removing them or making them hard to find for new people to find.
For anyone to find.
But do I have the option of like going on to the Assassin's Creed subreddit and being like, hey, I made this XP farm generator. It's named this. Just type the search words in the thing and download it. And once you've downloaded it, it's yours and they can't take that away? Or is it what I'm expecting? They're just going through and deleting them from people and saying, yeah, I don't give a fuck if you have access to this or not. We're getting rid of it.
I'm not sure what the level of taking them away is. I haven't gotten into the specifics, but
Okay.
I know that they're making it very difficult for you to find them.
Yeah.
And so that's where they're at this point.
Right.
Okay.
So
that's just-
far.
I was just kind of wondering because, I mean, that's also something that's going around for years. I mean, going back, and playing like Unreal back in the day, which is you get online on a forum and be like, hey, I made these mods for this game. Download the package here. Figure out how to fucking install it your damn self.
I mean, freaking like Counter-Strike. Like, I used to join servers, and it was like, okay, you have to download this map I made, and I have to download these WAV files of like clips, audio clips from fucking
Monty
Pulp
Python-
Fiction
and Monty
or
Python.
Monty Python.
So I don't want to
because that's where I put that's what the guns sound like now.
I don't want to fill all of our time here giving out the impression that every game developer out there is just trying to take your money and run. There's plenty of
Just
Ubisoft. There's
just Ubisoft
Right.
and you know
And EA and
EA and
Blizzard.
Epic. And,
there are plenty of examples
But-
of developers who really care about the players that they make games for.
Indeed.
But right now we're being saturated by studios that are out to make a quick buck, which in some cases is absolutely ridiculous considering these titles already make tons of money on their own.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, when you have games that sell millions of copies and are still considered failures by publishers, like, we have a really big problem with, like, greed and bloat in the corporate level of gaming. Period.
Okay, because I mean, like
How long can this trend continue?
it's
It can't. I mean, it can't. They're always chasing the next dollar, the highest dollar, and they're pissed off when they don't make more money than they did last year. And not a little bit more, exponentially more money than they made last year. And of course it can't continue. It's unsustainable. And they will cause their own crash if that happens.
Okay,
And
what I was
but
gonna
the
say
thing is-
was selling 1 million copies is great, but isn't it better if you sell 1 million copies and then every single person pays in another $5? Because when you, at the end of the day, are beholden to your shareholders because you made an arbitrary number up, you said 35. We're going to do 35 better than last year. I don't know what the fuck 35 is, but you're going to definitely have to do 35 because you told me you're going to do 35 better than last year. So if you do not do 35 better, you no longer have a job. We're changing out the management of this company, and we're going to force somebody in there to make 35 happen. And if 35 doesn't happen, we're going to destroy your company because we can sell it off because we're in charge. We're the shareholders. So, because I made up an arbitrary number, and if I don't find that arbitrary number somehow, I'm going to fuck up my entire company, and I'm going to make millions of people out of a job because I decided a number, and that's what happened. I'm literally explaining how companies work.
Right, but not all companies, specifically the video game industry. You know where you don't see this shit?
Hashtag not all companies.
Hashtag not all companies. You know where you don't see this shit where it has incredible potential to be seen? Hollywood. You don't see this in the movie industry.
You don't? Dude, we super see that in the movie industry right now.
Well, let me fucking finish before you go off. Just
right.
Calm your tits for like 5 seconds.
All right.
So, Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
You take Avengers Infinity War. Made all the money. All the fucking money. Somehow made more money than Black Panther. We thought that was impossible. Made all the goddamn money. They released 2 movies after that. You know what they didn't do? Go anywhere near those numbers. You know what they didn't consider those movies? A failure. At all. No one was upset that Ant-Man and the Wasp didn't make more money than Avengers Infinity War. Because they knew better. They were able to gauge that. They had realistic expectations.
Yeah, it's the rate of expectation.
Same with Endgame. Same with every movie. Spider-Man Far From Home. No one was mad it didn't make more money than Endgame. That was never going to happen.
Sony's a bit mad that it didn't make more money.
Sony's full of shit. Fuck Sony. Cinema. Fuck Sony Cinema.
I was wondering if you were going to correct that. I was about to be like, all right, he's finally on my side. Fuck Sony.
Yeah. But, I mean, unless there's, like, some weird, Uwe Boll, like studio out there that just keeps trying to, like, rake in money hand over fist, like, the movies are very specific and very smart about how much money they think they're going to make. They know what a failure looks like. And these games aren't failures.
On paper, like, recently I just watched Alita Battle Angel, and
Great movie.
In the United States, it's listed as a failure, but it was known that it was not going to make a lot of money here.
The reason it's listed as a failure specifically, and this is pretty much true across most of Hollywood, is when the movie doesn't make back what it costs to make it.
Yeah,
and that
within the first month.
Right, and that would make perfect sense in the video game world, but that's not what we're seeing.
No,
we're seeing games make 5 times what it costs to make them, and still being called failures.
And mine probably isn't a good explanation for it. What I meant by saying the film industry is doing the same thing, it's the idea that we are now banking on these giant blockbusters.
Well, we're now seeing we're hoping this movie makes $1 billion.
Yeah, we need Alita Battle Angel to make as almost as much as whatever the new Marvel movie is making, because that's the way we have to do these things. And Marvel's going, we have our expectations. We know Ant-Man's not going to sell as much. We know Spider-Man isn't going to sell as much because it's not the culmination of all these characters.
Right.
We get that it's not going to make as much. But if Black Panther had made 1/4 of what it had, we would not be getting any more Black Panther movies, because that's the expectation. Like and that's still 1/4 of that is still going above what it cost to make the damn thing.
Maybe. I mean, maybe we would have thought it was a failure. We probably would have said, "Damn, those are low numbers for what we were expecting."
But
the studio still made money.
But the studios have been around longer, and they understand the economics of this, and also the heads of these companies change out very frequently.
Yeah, they
Most
do.
recently because of what they do outside of their business hours, and in some cases during their business hours.
Yeah,
but the video game industry is very locked into this. We are a technology company that makes games, because the technology companies are what's been going on for the past little bit. And those are, you need to have your fucking Jeff Bezos in charge of everything, and you need to lock that shit down, and you need to, for some reason, make Lord of the Rings MMOs and fucking TV shows that no one asked for, because
Good
we're
callback.
Amazon. Yeah, I remember shit sometimes.
No, but that's true. Jeff Bezos apparently was quoted as saying, like Prime Video is where people go to watch Transparent. We need to be better than that, guys. We need we need our own Game of Thrones, and now we're getting the Lord of the Rings show. And God, I'm afraid.
And what I'm saying is with the video game companies making those choices where they're saying we're more kind of like on the tech company side, where we need to have this person that is infallible in charge for years and years and years, but they super are fallible, and video games need to go more the idea of the film industry, which is the cool, you done fucked up, so you're out of a job, go work somewhere else as a smaller producer, because you obviously can't do that job. You can maybe get that job again later after 5 or 6 more games.
Yeah.
But because we're talking about something that makes almost the same fucking amount of money, guys. We're talking about video games and movies make nearly the same amount of money.
Video games make far, far more money than movies right now. Far more.
So when we talk about things like these these loot boxes, these microtransactions, these things. What Ubisoft is literally doing right now.
The things we've been yelling about for years at this point.
Taking these levels down. I know that on this show I try to always educate where I can. That's a big sticking point for me. Is I always try to have some kind of educational content as we go into these discussions. Do we feel like there's a general ignorance, and I use this in air quotes. I use it by the true definition of it, as unawareness, kind of by the general public as to what's going on behind the scenes in the creation of video games, and if so, are game companies exploiting that?
Definitely.
Yes. No. All right. So let's take for instance the most recent thing where we talked about this on the show. The surprise mechanics.
Yeah.
This is
What EA called
surprise mechanics. And if
loot
you take we as gamers, for I guess just said before you asked this question, was we've been bitching about this shit for years. We've been saying this fucking for over and over again just.
This year alone has been
This year alone I'm very tired at this point.
Well,
year's been very long. But, excuse me, I'm trying to talk and I'm burping now.
You're
that has been a while. I'm sorry. I apologize. That burp made me lose my train of thought.
So I feel where you're going, and it gave me I had this thought. Do you guys remember the last gimmick we had to have movies make more money?
3D?
It was 3D.
Yeah.
It was Avatar.
Yeah.
When did Avatar come out? 2012? 2011? How many fucking new innovations have we gotten in video games to try and squeeze more money out of us since 2012? I mean,
I'm comparing the 2 to 2. It's like we had shitty fucking 3D and
let's
shitty
start,
3D.
Let's start with DLC on the disc and just shitty DLC, that horse armor, right? We start with shit like that. Yeah, VR is a thing, but VR is at least a piece of technology. We went from that to season passes, and then we went to loot boxes, and now we're on to just pure microtransactions, which loot boxes are a part of, but we decided are a little too exploitative.
Yeah.
In some games just
At some point in the history of video games, we went from paid DLC being like, hey, I'm going to drop $15 to $30 on this great expansion pack for this game.
It's a whole new story in my game.
To I'm going to pay $5 so I can do the thing faster.
Yeah.
That's my biggest gripe with Assassin's Creed Odyssey. They gave you the opportunity to pay money to skip parts of the game. What the fuck does that say about the product you're selling me? Except that it's a bit shit.
You made it intentionally.
So
grindy.
there's something that I've been trying to not bring up Destiny as much as I can for a while now, but there is something that specifically I've watched a bunch of the Vidocs they put out and interviews where they talk about this is for every game company. I just know that they basically have talked about this. There is a person's job which is game investment. And it's their job to sit there and do the math of how much time should it take to get a thing.
Right.
That how much time, if you're playing the base game, arbitrary number to get from level 0 to level 50.
Right.
And you've got 12 missions. How much of that should be XP should be just playing the story, or how much it should be side missions, and how much should those side missions, if you do nothing but them, how fast are you going to reach max level by doing nothing? Yeah. I mean, Fallout 76 might not have this, but the other Fallout games had this kind of thing. Fallout 3 and 4 definitely had a person whose entire job was go, wait, how much XP are they getting for side missions and how many are you putting in the game? Because we have to figure out, you have to make kind of a work-life balance inside of your game.
Well, yeah, how do you approach a mission late in the game knowing whether or not the player has only played story missions at this point, or if they've branched out and gotten more powerful?
Yeah.
Is it possible for them to play just story missions and get to here and even beat it? Or will they just be destroyed?
And when this is, again, I haven't played this Assassin's Creed game, but if you're looking at this on paper of what y'all have been explaining, they specifically designed a system to where you would be under leveled and on purpose to force you to purchase a real money item that gives you just an XP. It's just an XP booster.
Yeah, or grind out the game. And they specifically made it frustrating because whether or not the content is good, and I hear some of it very much is, whether or not these side missions are any good, if you complete a side mission that took you 20 to 30 to 40 minutes to complete and you get 10 XP, that's so frustrating. I might just go spend $5 on some
and if you
XP.
need $1,000 XP to level, and you only get 10 for doing something that takes 40 minutes, I'm going to as a gamer, I'm going to find the fastest, easiest way for me to do something.
Yeah.
In fact, there's actually lore in Destiny about how players do that.
Yeah.
like in the lore of the game.
Yeah.
I love that they included that because they know that's what the players do.
Yeah.
We find the fastest, easiest way to do something. We find an exploit and we use that exploit to gain experience points when it's an exploit, meaning the game is broken in some form and it was non-intentional. When you are giving me the tools to make my own levels and give it its own experience levels, experience points or whatever, and that's not an exploit. You handed me,
You gave me
the
the tools.
and you gave me the piece of marble and I made it into a dick. What were you expecting?
Right.
You fucking idiots.
The marble is only to make faces and
hands.
and
Faces and
out
hands
of-
only. You made a dick, dude. Why would you do that? Have you been on the internet? We make dicks out of everything. Literally, the oldest graffiti known to mankind is a drawing of a penis. So, fuck you. First off,
So we're seeing a trend internally with talks of unions, governments pushing it back against things like loot boxes.
Yeah.
Are these the factors that are going to contribute to the fledgling game development media finally having to quote unquote grow up?
I fucking hope so. Is
Yeah,
all I can say.
I think
First of
so.
all, we 100% need a just enormous union for video game.
and that's not even for things like this. The unionization isn't for fixing stuff like this to help the consumer.
Not
That's-
exactly,
For me,
but-
that is helping. That is entirely for the people whose jobs it is making the damn thing.
Right, but it does give the workers more power, which
Yes,
gives them
and
more
they
say
can then
over what
say,
they're creating.
"This is a down the line. It will help players because I want the people that are making it to have a fucking life and get paid what they're worth."
Yeah.
I'm
Shit.
willing to, as long as you take my fucking commercials out of it, pay way more for a game. I don't care if it's cost me $120. There's no commercials and the people didn't have to work overtime.
You know?
True.
I'm perfectly. Are we all not happy? We're happy with playing double the standard price of a video game. If we knew that they didn't have to work weekends, that they worked just a normal 8 hours a day, and
Or if they wanted to work late, it was their choice.
and it was their
Yeah.
choice. Like they're like, but they still and they forced them to take vacations. I love that when that's something Bungie did. They said, "No, you're working too much. You literally are on vacation."
Well, stop stroking
yeah,
Destiny's
yeah,
dick for
but
just
that's
Yeah,
the
well,
company.
but-
that's the company
no,
I
but-
pay the most attention to off the top of my head.
No, like,
There are
if
other video game
CDPR
companies who do
came
that.
out tomorrow and said, "Look, we're releasing it. Here you go. It's $120. Sorry, guys. It's
That's how much- that's how
what
much
we have to
this
charge
game
in
costs.
order to make the game profitable
Yeah.
for the country of Poland." And I'd be like,
because we are the only money.
because that's what we do. And I'd be like, "Fuck, shut up and take
Sure,
my money.
yeah.
Shut up and take
as
my
long
money."
as long as again, the only reason I use Bungie is that's the company I pay the most attention
If
to.
Rockstar asked
If-
me for that, I'd tell him. I'd punch
No,
him in the
because
face.
Rockstar's going to
Well-
put ads and shit in there. They're going to treat their employees like shit. The companies that you trust, in this case, both of us have companies that were like, yeah, these are the two guys that we're like, these are the good guys.
Well, I was trying to have you guys not blow your load because as we were trying
Okay,
to...
we have another topic.
As we were
With
trying-
more? Oh my god.
No, because as we were closing this whole talk
Okay.
down and we were getting to wrap it up, I know that it's been very negative. There's a lot of really bad things and a lot of shady ass shit that Ubisoft is doing here that's very anti-consumer. I think that with all this negative talk, just over the last year of all the shady practices that we're seeing from development studios, now's a good time to just shine a little light on companies that really do right by their customers. So I want to, as we close this segment down, kind of go around the table and just, if you have a studio that you want to praise, now is the time to do it.
We literally just
So
did
no,
that.
no, I have more, and James will agree with me on this one because CDPR, everyone knows they're not immune to controversy, but for the most part, they have been the fucking good guys all the way back to like The Witcher 1. But Insomniac, incredible example. I mean, holy shit, just the content they've added to Spider-Man completely for free just because they thought this would be cool. They literally, the game came out a year and a half ago, and they just put the costumes from Spider-Man Far From Home in the game
For
Like,
free.
For free.
Yeah.
I mean that's good guy gamer.
And
Right
honestly, looking at that game, I don't know how complicated their engine is. Designing a skin for a character is like a half an hour for
Yeah.
most artists' job. You're like, cool, I'm done. So there you fucking go. Oh wait, we just import the files from the movie because we're Sony and that's what we did. Okay,
I'm
cool.
Remember that? I feel so bad for not knowing their name. Monotomy Park. They're the ones that create Slime Rancher.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I don't know
Yeah.
who they are, but
So
amazing game.
If that game has been out for like years,
It's like 4 to 6 years old at this
Years.
point.
yeah.
At least 4.
of their DLC is completely free.
Yeah.
Most of these story add-ons, like that's free. Like there's a skin pack that came out pretty recently, and it's just that it's a skin pack.
They literally added more content to it like a month ago.
Yeah.
They're like, by the way, we're adding a whole new like area.
They said like we're gonna drop like an $8.99 skin pack. You don't need anything. You don't have to take it.
Yeah.
But it was like one of the hottest sellers on fucking Steam over the last week. He dropped a fucking Slime Rancher skin pack, and just everybody, because all the story content was all free. Every time that game updates with story content, and yes, Slime Rancher has a story.
Weirdly,
Don't at me
yes.
about this.
Weirdly, there is a story in Slime Rancher. It's very confusing and hard to get to, but it's it's like Minecraft.
It's like Dark Souls.
It's Dark Souls, Minecraft, any of those games where you just wander around for hours. There is a plot line somewhere.
Grinding Gear Games, the people who make Path of Exile. Amazing studio that does nothing but expand their game and make it better season to season. Every one of their microtransactions is entirely cosmetic. They would never sell you anything that affected the game. It just makes you look cooler. And the best they do is like they'll have like a sponsorship from Razer, and it's like, do you want little Razer logos as your footprints? That's cool. Like that's all you get. Another good example in the same vein of Warframe. Oh my god, what they've added to that game.
For a free-to-play game.
Still completely free. And they have gone from like a pretty cool, like grindy, almost like RPG style game. Now it's like open world and there are multiple zones, and now they have ships that you can own as a group and like fly around the galaxy, and it's fucking cool.
Yeah, no, everybody's explanation of Warframe is it's WoW and Destiny like crammed into one thing that's free to play that you literally don't need to buy anything ever because it's just cosmetic.
And obviously, you've been praising everybody over at Bungie for a while.
Yeah, no, this was something.
You do call them out when there's a problem.
Yeah, and I call them. They've
In the Activision years.
Well, yeah, and even then, during the Activision years, even during the Microsoft years, they were making strides to add a work-life balance for their employees, adding in. The unionization's not really a thing that they haven't really made any statement on that at all. No company's making a statement on that.
No company's pro-union except for Costco.
But they've been making these strides, and even whenever they made the deal with Activision, they were able to finally then, I guess, have the money backing to actually say, no, if you are working this too many hours especially during crunch time, we will force you to take a vacation.
Good.
Because you are here too much, and you're obviously not going to be at 100%. If you take 2 weeks off, you might come back and be about like 50% for 2 days, but you'll be back at 100% instead of being at 75 continuously. That's just me throwing arbitrary numbers out again.
Right.
But they did that during the Activision years, and they've since then been making more and more strides saying, no, like even recently we talked on the show where they said, we're not bringing people in for vacation to fix this thing. We're just not doing it.
They had that patch, and it's like, well, no, we didn't address this because we would have to bring people in.
Yeah, people are on vacation, and we're not doing that.
It'll be fixed next month, guys. We need a break.
We're like, give us a month.
Yeah.
We're also making this giant fucking expansion for you in another year's worth of content, so calm your fucking tits.
I know we're on the positive part, but I'm really sad I didn't bitch about Bethesda at all today because they really deserve it. So this is my sentence
This
where
is
I shit
the
on
opposite
Bethesda,
section. This
and
is
now we can
and
go.
here are companies that are also shitty instead of being good, like the few that we got to mention.
Everyone knows what's wrong with Todd Howard, et cetera, so I don't need to rehash it. But yeah, fuck that company. I'll never buy one of their games ever again.
I was going to say that there are, you mentioned way more than I did, there are so many more companies that are doing good. These are small, generally independent studios that are making work-life balance changes, that are trying to do pro-consumer changes that we don't talk about because you don't generally recognize the good. You only recognize the bad. It's like, go through your memories of every time a pet did something. You generally remember the times it was being a little shithead.
True.
And not when it was being cute and cuddly next to you.
That's a good point.
You remember the bad stuff and not the good stuff. So there are way more companies out there that are doing good by their employees, by their customers. And
Especially game studios inside some of the shit publishers that we're talking about.
I was actually going to mention, it's like, because you talked about Insomniac, it's like, well, Naughty Dog's really good, but that's like, wait, Naughty Dog also did some really horrible shit that I didn't like either. But they were good for a while.
Naughty Dog is incredible today. I don't know what you're talking about.
It was the way they handed off some of their higher ups and the way they handled some of the story things.
Oh well, Amy Hennig is the whole thing.
That's
true.
That's what I was going to. Was like, well, that was the shit part that I didn't enjoy.
So yeah, there are a lot of companies out there that are doing good, doing really great things, making strides in both taking care of their employees and taking care of their customer base. There are very pro-consumer companies out there. However, to kind of wrap this whole thing up, I do want to say there is no fucking excuse for what Ubisoft is doing right
Hard
now.
no. It's the most hypocritical nonsense I've ever seen, and it is. The worst part is that it is so blatantly obvious, pinned to the sleeve, greedy. Like, a lot of companies will try and hide their greed, and that's other industries, not video games. They think we're all too stupid to notice, or that we don't care. But the greed, the moves that they make to try and make more money off of us when they don't deserve it, boggle my mind every day.
Yeah, the stupidest thing in that entire statement that they made was using the word exploitative incorrectly.
Yeah.
It's not an exploit if you put it in the tools. It's a tool. If you said, hey, make all these custom levels and shit, but we're locking everything to 10 XP.
Right.
It's not an exploit. Whenever you gave us the option to increase the XP that a character gets by doing a thing, we are going to do that.
Did you imagine I was not going to touch that slider?
Yeah. That's like going into Minecraft and be like, don't use wooden swords because you're not allowed to use those. You're like, but they're in the game. Yeah, but don't do that.
Don't do that.
That's
All
fuck
right.
you. That's fucking stupid. Why'd you put them in the game then?
Well, I guess it's safe to just go ahead and say that I think the biggest tool of the episode, in fact, has been Ubisoft. All right.
Oh, they're a massive tool.
That is everything that we have for the show this week. Thank you for sticking with us. I know this was a really complicated issue, but it needed to be talked about because what Ubisoft is doing is just so anti-consumerism, and I got so angry about it, and I had to do it. I hope that you learned something today. Again, I try to put a little...
I hope we were entertaining.
I hope that we were
Like,
entertaining.
we bounced around a lot of places at this ending.
It was
and
bouncing.
I enjoyed it. I think people learned things. Maybe they cried a little bit.
Maybe
Mostly
you
at our horrible use of the English language.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you have anything you want to talk to us about, Tony, where can they find us?
Facebook.com/silly like, share. Twitch.tv/silly Monday, 7:30 Central-ish. We're still working out more times and things. Info@thesillynerd.com is our email address. Sillynerd.com is our website. @thesillynerds Twitter. Donate buttons on some shits. If you want to donate to the show, it goes back to buying things like the super massive Stream Deck that they came out with that I really want because it's got like
32 buttons.
this one only has 6. You know how many more buttons that is?
Most
A
of
lot.
them.
That is at least 5 more.
You can tell that we're good at maths.
Yeah,
All right.
math is awesome.
That is everything we have for the show
That's
this week.
quick maths. Quick maths.
Until next time, for Tony, this is James.
For James, this is Tony.
And I'm Hector.
Adventures, good night.
And good game. The mouse is so far away.
Thank you, everybody, for sticking with us. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I know. We ran a little bit later than we normally do.
That topic went a lot better than I thought it was going to.
Oh, yeah.
I was worried that it was going to not be as strong. I felt that it was very strong.
You did
Well,
a good
see-
job of reining us in when we were like
I know.
running.
See, that
running
was
away.
the thing. It's like it was a light enough subject to where we could side tangent like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Archer,
It
I
was good.
really need you to fuck off. Like this is like the 4th time you've sat on my
Just
lap.
stand up. He'll understand if you stand up.
No, he won't. He doesn't understand standing up.
Well, he might just like turn around and claw your balls to try and stay on, but that's okay.
Give him too much.
Have the space heater. Oh my god, it's
My Robin.
Oh,
Nice,
I have to wear shorts doing the show just because like
That's a warm kitty.
the amount of heat that he
Oh
creates
my god,
sitting on
you're
me.
like a whole thing. Space
All right, I'm signing this up. Bye, guys.
Bye, Twitch. We love you.